All North Racing powered by Pinty's on MAV TV Canada, ready to go the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. But first, a tradition at Ohsweken Speedway, the Smoke Dancers. Clinton Jeffrey down trackside.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. You know how we get all our big races started at the Big O. Make some noise for the Six Nations Smoke Dancers. How about it for the Six Nations Smoke Dancers? Front stretch, are you ready to go racing? Let me hear you make some noise. Back stretch, are you ready? Let me hear you over there. All right, here we go. It's time to go racing. The 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Send it up to Adam and Greg as we get set to go racing.
And the 360 sprint cars are going to start things off. We have 6 qualifying heats, ladies and gentlemen. Top 3 finishers from each of the heats will qualify into tonight's A main event. The next 3 will qualify for the B main event, and the rest of the field will go into a C main. So later on tonight, the top finishers in the C main will advance to start at the back of the B main. Top finishers in the B main will advance to start at the back of the A main. And that's how we're going to set the lineup for the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Looks like a little bit of fluid down there at the start-finish line, so Clinton Jeffrey, as he always does here at the Big O, wearing multiple hats here on race night, directing these drivers to head on through that. These great big rear tires on a sprint car, they'll move the water around in a big hurry. So there you can see the top 3 go to the A main, 4th to 6th to the B main, 7th on back go to the C. There will not be a D main tonight. We have 60 cars in attendance, so we'll be able to get things going with just a C, a B, and an A to set our 30 car starting grid for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
Starting on the pole for heat race number 1 out of Marcellus, New York, driving car number 10C. That'll be Paulie Colagiovanni. To the outside of him, car number 10, Kelly Hebing out of Ontario, New York. Going from the 3rd spot from Cleveland, Ohio, driving the 46C. That'll be Ryan Conium. Going from 4th from Sunbury, Pennsylvania, the 55, Mark Smith. Going from 5th to Port Byron, New York, that'll be the 2 of Dave Axton. And alongside from Sunnyvale, Texas, the 15H, that is Sam Hafer-Teep Jr. From the 7th spot out of Stephentown, New York, the 90T, Matt Tanner. From 8th, Double E, Dustin Daggett. He's out of Grand Ledge, Michigan in the 85. Starting 9th from Port Layton, New York, the 7CS, that is Dylan Swernick. And going from 10th out of Scotland, Ontario, the 87X, Sean Evans.
6 qualifying heats, 10 drivers in each of those heats. The top 3 go straight to the A main tonight to race for the $10,000 top prize. We are underway.
They rock it down into corner number 1. Colagiovanni on the bottom, and here comes Mark Smith. They'll make it 3 wide. Kelly Hebing through the middle. She'll grab the lead for the moment.
Bold move by Kelly Hebing down to the inside in that number 10, but Mark Smith going to lead lap number 1.
Smith working that inside line, as is Kelly Hebing. Ryan Conium will slide past Paulie Colagiovanni. The pole sitter trying to work his way back up inside the top three.
Colagiovanni got a better run off of turn 2, and now he gets around Conium again, but Conium going to fight him off. But Sam Haferteep going to pass both of them on the high side to take the third spot. What a battle for third.
Working through 3 and 4. Mark Smith slipping up the track just a little bit, trying the higher line around as he leads over Kelly Hebing. Third right now, Sam Haferteep as he works that car on the inside line. Paulie Colagiovanni, Ryan Conium, and Dustin Daggett outside of the transfers.
Deep in the field, they're having some great battles, but right now Mark Smith is in his own time zone out in the front with the race lead. Kelly Hebing doing a great job in that number 10. She holds on to the second spot. And Sam Haferteep managing to keep that third place over Paulie Colagiovanni, but Paulie keeps on looking like he may close in.
There they are right there battling for that spot as Sam Haferteep has the third position. Colagiovanni continues to work the bottom, gained a little bit of ground there in corner 2. The Sam Haferteep really got high.
I think Haferteep's in a little bit of trouble. That car is not doing what he wants. And Paulie Colagiovanni is searching for things and finding what he wants out of that race car. Finally now Haferteep goes to the bottom of the racetrack to make some ground, and he got through 1 and 2 that lap really well.
Mark Smith across the line completes lap number 7. 3 laps left to go in this first qualifying heat with Kelly Hebing doing a good job. She's back there in that second spot. Sam Haferteep now putting some distance on Paulie Colagiovanni. Dustin Daggett is back there in spot number 5.
2 laps to go in this qualifying heat. 2 more times around for Mark Smith, Kelly Hebing, and Sam Haferteep to punch their ticket into tonight's A-main event.
Coming down to the white flag for Mark Smith as he leads. Kelly Hebing's done a nice job to hang with Mark Smith. He hasn't been allowed to pull away like I thought he might.
No, you're absolutely right. He got out to that advantage. He built that cushion and kind of kept that lead. In fact, here comes Hebing mounting a late challenge for the win, but it's going to be Mark Smith. Kelly Hebing second, Sam Haferteep third. They'll go straight to the A-main. Then Paulie Colagiovanni, Dustin Daggett, and Ryan Conium to the B. Everyone else, Dave Axton, Swiernick, Tanner, and Sean Evans will be racing in the C main.
Sunbury, Pennsylvania's Mark Smith picks up the win in heat race number 1 over Kelly Hebing and Sam Haferteep Jr. They will all go directly to the A-main here tonight. So 1 of 6 qualifying heats now into the record books.
Look at the angle of Sean Evans' wing in that 87. This track is so slick. These drivers are looking for anything they can do to try to get some traction out of the rear wheels from these huge horsepower engines.
Heat number 2 coming out onto the Speedway, leading the way, starting from the pole position out of St. Mathieu de Beloeil, Quebec. Car number 28 will be Jordan Poirier. Alongside him from Brantford in the Little Bend 110, that'll be Jake Brown. Going from the 3rd spot from Brantford as well. Downtown, Mitch Brown in the 10B. This is the track surface I think he'll find his liking tonight. Going from 4th out of Harding, Pennsylvania. Always strong here, the 79 of Jordan Thomas. Back there in row number 3, Ontario, New York's Chuck Hebing will start in car number 45 of the 5th spot. Shane Ross out of Thetford, Ontario goes from the 6th spot in the 5D. Joe Trenk out of Clay, New York. He'll go from the 7th starting position alongside Jacob Dykstra out of Port Colborne in the 5 JD. And Denny Peebles in the 3, Tyler Rand in the 84 make up the back row. Denny Peebles out of Lowman, New York, and Tyler Rand from Picton, Ontario.
Yellow flag being displayed as we've got 1 off the pace up in turns 1 and 2. Safety crew is on the scene to see what support they can lend. And that car going to get pushed off and refired. and rejoin the tail end of the field. One of the rules that was made clear in the drivers' meeting, you get one push-off per race to start the race, so they push them off back on our warm-up track on the backstretch, and if for some reason you come to a stop on the track and you need another push, you forfeit your starting position.
White flag comes out in heat race number 2, 10 laps, top 3 to the A-main.
If you're Doug Brown, father of Mitch Brown and Jake Brown, is there a worse scenario than both your boys starting together in the same qualifying heat? There are 6 heats they could have been in, and it was pretty much luck of the draw where you go out in your qualifying groups. And of course, Jake Brown on the outside of row 1, Mitch Brown on the inside of row 2. It just lessens the chance of qualifying. You want to be able to cheer for your boy. Now he's just got to cheer for both of his boys to take 2 of those top 3 spots.
And if there's a problem with one car and the other one has problems a little bit later, you've got to deal with that as well.
Jake Brown with an aggressive start, pinches off Jordan Poirier, come to the green. That didn't do any favors for his brother Mitch Brown, who slows down, and that's going to be called back by race director Doug Leonard.
So the Browns will now make up the front row, Clint.
Okay, so race director Doug Leonard didn't like something that Jordan Poirier did on that start. I actually thought Jake Brown from the outside kind of pinched Jordan Poirier down, but Doug Leonard's been doing this a long time. Made his decision, and now we got a pair of Browns on the front row. Mitch on the inside in the number 10, Jake on the outside in the number 110. There's a chalk line in turn number 4, and that is where they are supposed to fire to start this race. You can see the Brown boys coming around turn number 4 right at the end of the concrete wall on the inside. That's where they fire, and this race is underway.
Jake Brown gets another good start. He'll rocket around the outside of Mitch Brown, but Mitch strong on the bottom. He'll carry the momentum from there and grab the lead going into 3.
Jordan Poirier did not have a good start, made some contact with Hebing in the 45. That got his car airborne, so he is almost all the way to the back of this field.
Jordan Thomas running that middle lane, working the outside of Mitch Brown. They'll go wheel to wheel down the backstretch into the 3rd corner. Thomas edges ahead just a bit, but Mitch Brown working hard right along the wall across the line. Thomas leads the lap.
The rear brake rotor on these race cars is right in the center of the rear axle, and you can see Mitch Brown's is glowing red. That's kind of his calling card, Greg, isn't it?
It has been, and it's all part of working that inside line, riding that brake, and he is working it right now. Oh, gets into the front end of the Cobra, Chuck Hebing.
Little bit of contact there, and Hebing is not going to back out of it ever.
Not at all, not with these qualifying positions being so critical here tonight. Slow one up in corner 2. Tyler Rand gets it back under full power.
Yeah, Rand just about looped it in turn 2. Did a nice job to save that car. The top 3 have pulled away now from Jake Brown on that 110. He's losing ground. We're going to be at the halfway point this time. 5 laps down, 5 laps to go, so there is some time. If Jake Brown can find a line that agrees with that car, he can try to close in. But right now, the top 3 are sitting pretty.
Yeah, Jordan Thomas out in front over Mitch Brown and the Cobra, Chuck Hebing. Chuck trying to reel in that 10B machine as they work across the line to complete lap number 6 of 10.
Jordan Poirier still trying to make his way back towards the front of the pack. He's battling with Trenka off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway in that bright yellow and black number 28.
Top 3 have stretched themselves out. Jake Brown a good distance back. In fact, right now the battle is heating up for the lead as Mitch Brown began to reel in Jordan Thomas. This time it'll be 2 laps left to go for the driver of Harding, Pennsylvania.
Twice more around for these cars in their qualifying heat. And just like we saw in race number 1, fantastic battles deep in this field. But we got to focus on the front, and it's Jordan Thomas with the white flag in the air signaling 1 more lap to go.
Mitch Brown's going to give it 1 more run. Down deep in corner number 1, staying right there with Jordan Thomas this entire qualifying heat. They work it into corner number 3, both working the inside lane. It's going to be the checkered flag for Jordan Thomas. Mitch Brown will cross the line in 2nd, and the Cobra, Chuck Hebing, will punch his way into the A-main as well.
Jordan Poirier going to come home 5th. He will be disappointed with that. Jake Brown 4th, Jordan Poirier 5th, Joe Trenka in 6th. on a wide, smooth, slippery racetrack tonight.
Jordan Thomas has made a name for himself here at Ohsweken Speedway over the last few seasons and shows us again why he is always a contender in that 79, picking up the heat race win, getting ready for heat number 3 to make its way out onto the Speedway over on the warm-up track off of corner number 3. Take a look.
That was the start of the last heat where Jordan Poirier got over the back end. Okay, it was the brown machine that got over the back end of down into the corner, and that could have been a whole lot worse.
Wild ride, and it's going to be a lot of work now for Jordan Poirier. He's going to have to come through the B main to make it into the big event as we get ready for heat race number 3. Going from the pole out of Tonawanda, New York, came oh so close to picking up the win last night in one of the triple 15s. Drives the fiberwork composite Brady Electric 7NY. It's Matt Farnham. Alongside him, a 3-time champion of this event and the Four Seasons Foundation. FM Industries, mega pumping car number 28 FM, the Fireball, Steve Poirier. Going from the 3rd position out of Tilsonburg, driving the Petro Plus. Burger Barn, Mobile 1, car number 13, the fastest qualifier overall, Corey Turner. And lining up to his outside from the 4th spot in Port Jervis, New York, the Profab 56 of Billy Van Inwigen. Starting from 5th at Wilsonville, the Town Line Variety, Original Traders Energy, Iroquois Hereford Farms 77X, the Six Nation Sensation Alex Hill. And alongside her out of Dorchester in the Ohsweken Speedway, Case IH Stonehouse General Contracting, car number 1, Holly Porter. Going from 7th at Bradenton, Florida, in the Emily Oil, car number 28M, Connor Morell, our longest tow award winner here tonight. Going from 8th out of Kitchener, the Nitro 54 variety, MMBO Direct Marketing, Creative Edge Signs and Graphics, number 9 of Steve Lyons. Going from the 9th position from Clay, New York, the Little Cobra Design, number 99, that is John Trenka. And starting in the 10th spot from Lime, Ohio, the Jared Horseman Racing, 17M of Max Stambaugh.
Something a little bit curious about the starting order of this qualifying heat, because I was pretty sure Corey Turner, by being the fastest in his group, would start in the 4th spot, Greg, but we leave the officiating to the officials, and we just notice these sort of things and comment. White flag is out. One more lap. They'll set him loose with Matt Farnham and the 7NY on the inside of row number 1, and the 28 is Steve Poirier on the outside.
My question is, did something happen with Max Stambaugh that put him to the tail? Would he have been in the top 4 and slid everyone up? Just seems weird to see the Max Stambaugh 17M at the back for this one. But nonetheless, we're going to go to the green flag. This time by 10 laps, top 3 to the A main. The 3-time winner of this event, Steve Poirier, starts from the outside of the front row. That rookie racer, Matt Farnham, a little bit of a bump there before they take off.
Well, he was really trying to angle the car, so he was pointed down the bank and coming to the green flag. And I think it kind of stymied all the drivers behind him. We talked about Max Stambaugh being at the back. He's not at the back anymore, Greg. He's in 3rd.
And there he goes to the outside of Billy Van Inwigen, setting his sights on Matt Farnham, who rides in the 2nd spot. Corey Turner, who was so quick in time trials, he's drifted back to the 6th position.
Yeah, Corey Turner did not get a good start. He was behind Matt Farnham coming to the green, and he was the first one to get bottled up by that unique line Farnham took. Not saying Farnham did anything wrong, it just affected Corey Turner. Now keep in mind, he is guaranteed to start either 9th, 10th, or 11th by virtue of his win in our triple qualifying races last night.
He moved up the track, did get by Billy Van Inwigen, now trying to track down the one of Holly Porter. As they work it through corners 1 and 2, there you see Corey Turner around that outside line, trying to get himself away from Billy Van Inwigen.
Well, and he is searching around the racetrack way up on the cushion. That is as far away as you can get from the line he used last night to great success. But using this as a learning session is Corey Turner right now in the 13 machine. At the front, halfway through this one, Steve Poirier with the lead, Matt Farnham in 2nd, and Stambaugh 3rd.
Poirier doing what he did last night. He was very dominant in his qualifying heat before he had the issues under the hood of the 28 FM, but he's picked right back up where he left off with Matt Farnham doing similar, as well as he came so close to that triple 15 win last night in that 7NY, showing again how good he is in this quick transition he's made to the 360s.
I'll tell you who's doing a nice job in this race as well is Holly Porter in number 1. This is a very technical racetrack, as slick as it is tonight, and she's running in the 4th position, so not in a transfer spot, but she is in position to have a great starting position in the B main.
Yeah, that she is, and just running some very smooth, solid laps right now, but line up from the wall on the inside line, and Holly works it across the line, as do the leaders with 2 laps left to go in this qualifying heat.
I think you get to a point in the heat when you realize you're not going to advance your position. You just want to find a nice safe line where you're not likely to hit anything and finish the race off. We got trouble up in 1 and 2. That's our long tow award winner.
And Connor Morell, and he's going to stop it up to the exit of the track there where he should have pulled off into the pit area, and brings us under the caution flag. So the driver to Bradenton, Florida, stops of the high side of corner number 2, puts us under the caution with 9 laps in and 1 to go.
So Morell deciding whatever was wrong with the car, he obviously must feel that if he just gets a push, it might be okay. Maybe it jumped out of gear on him. But slows this race down, and it will be a 1-lap dash to the finish.
Yeah, why not? With the C and the B, you can increase your chances of having a better starting spot, a better shot at making the show. And if you feel that the car can continue on, get the push.
Well, consider this, Greg. With 6 qualifying heats, in theory, every car you can pass in your heat race is 6 qualifying spots further ahead you'll be later on when the B main and the C main, etc., get rolled out onto the racetrack. But Morella's not starting that car, so no fire under the hood of that race car. It looks like he will be pushed back to the pits.
So that's unfortunate for the Florida native. He'll head to the pit area and was hopeful he would get back to it, but nonetheless, we'll get ready to line them back up and continue on in heat race number 3 with Steve Poirier out in front over Matt Farnham, Max Stambaugh. Those are the 3 in the transfer spots for the A main right now. Then you've got Holly Porter with a very solid run up there in 4th. Corey Turner lining up in the 5th position. Billy Van Inwigen in the 56th. It's back in 6th. Steve Lyons 7th. Alex Hill back there in the 8th spot, and 9th is John Trenka. That's a fantastic looking car Steve Poirier has.
Oh, it's beautiful. I've never seen John Trenka race, and I've seen Joe Trenka race countless times.
Well, guys, a couple of reports. Max Stambaugh missed scales after time trials. That put him at the back of the heat here, and he drove up to the front fairly easily. Connor Morell has foregone the work area, and they will take it right back to the trailer, so it looks like his night may be over, at least for now, unless they can get it back together for the C main.
Fairly easy is an understatement. He got to the 3rd spot on the first lap, Adam, and really took that Horseman Racing 17M on a mission towards the top 2.
I'm going to stick up for Max Stambaugh. It may look easy from where we are, but when everything bottlenecked on the inside, he had that car pointed to the high groove. So it wasn't easy. He made the right choice going into turn 1 and 2, and things worked out great for him. But making those decisions on a split second like they do is much more difficult than it looks.
Here comes Stambaugh on the inside of Matt Farnham. Farnham, though, with a launch off the 2nd corner, will pull away from him. Headed into 3. It's a bottleneck right now for the 4th spot. Corey Turner digging to get inside the top 3. Checkers coming out. Oh, he got the door slammed.
Oh, and Billy V passes Holly Porter at the stripe to take that position. That would have been fascinating. Corey, right now, Max Stambaugh has as many passing points as anybody we've seen in the heats because he came from the back all the way up to 3rd. But you had to finish in the top 3 to get a transfer spot. If Corey Turner had passed him there, Stambaugh would have been relegated to the B main. By the way that he kept that 3rd position, he might be in our pole dash later on for the top finishers based on passing points. It's confusing, but Max Stambaugh did a good thing.
exciting qualifying heat there. Heat race number 3 into the record books. See Steve Poirier on the scales over in the garage area.
But guys, I just want to mention quickly, why is Corey Turner out there racing? He's already guaranteed 9th, 10th, or 11th spot based on last night, as is Jason Barney coming out. Well, if they make enough passing points and end up in the top 8 in passing points, they'll find themselves in the pole draw, so pole dash, I should say, so they could advance their position. That's why these guys are racing hard. The official word is they just had to take the green in their qualifying heat to get their guaranteed starting positions.
Heat race number 4 will line up like this out of Romulus, New York. The Williams Insurance Canandaigua Seal Coating 22P of Jonathan Preston goes from the pole alongside of him from Cheektowaga, New York. In the Fiberworks Composite 49, the straight shooter, Scott Kruder. Going from third, as Clint said, locked into the show already by virtue of his win last night. The driver from Brewerton, New York, the 87 Speed E&V Energy X1 Race Cars 87 of racing, Jason Barney. Starting fourth, the track champion here at Ohsweken Speedway out of Scotland, Ontario. The original Traders Energy Sovereign Fusion 47X, D-Dubs, Dylan Westbrook. And going from the 5th position, out of Wapakoneta, Ohio, in the Ferris Commercial Mowers, Royal Purple, car number 23, it's Devin Doby. Going from 6th from Amsterdam, New York, the Miller Excavating and Landscape Panther Frameworks 88C of Chad Miller. And going from 7th out of Beamsville, the Part Source Janie Recovery 88H, that's Josh Hansen. Going from 8th out of Rochester, New York, the 121 of Steve Glover in the E-Lab Smokers Boutique Ride. Starting in 9th out of Bath, the RL Asphalt 16L of Roger Levesque, and Dan Nanicoke out of Ohsweken in the Nitro 54 variety. Accident Insurance 15 starts 10.
Scott Kruder pinches down on Preston, coming to the green. He'll take the lead, but what a move by Dylan Westbrook to take second.
It was a 4-car race off of corner 2, and Dylan Westbrook threaded the needle, but here comes Preston back on his tail tank.
Man, they are fighting elbows up in this qualifying heat from front to back. Preston trying to fight back from a weak start. Jason Barney in that 87, again, a guaranteed starter, but he's racing hard, trying to get up into that top 3.
Scott Kruder out in front over Dylan Westbrook. Jonathan Preston back there in the 3rd position. Jason Barney, that car that's locked in, he's the first car outside of an A-main transfer spot.
Scott Kruder walking away with this one. Dylan Westbrook not quite able to keep pace with that 49 machine, but he is pulling away from Preston, who holds down 3rd.
5th place runner Chad Miller caught the wall down in corner 2, lost some ground to the 4th place car of Jason Barney. He'll try to reel in that top 4.
Down the back straightaway, Scott Kruder advancing his position. He was more than 0.3 of a second a lap faster last time by than Dylan Westbrook, so Kruder really has something figured out in that 49 machine. Westbrook has settled into 2nd, but now we've got a battle for 3rd with Jason Barney on the inside in that 87. Jonathan Preston up high in the 22.
Roger Levesque slow off of corner 4, so the leaders will work by him. Preston holding off that 3rd spot right now, but here comes Barney down to the inside as they work by that lap car. Just enough room for Preston to stay into that 3rd spot and clear the lap traffic.
That's got to be more than a little unnerving when you're running the extreme outside like that and there's a slow car headed to the pits, but Jonathan Preston kept his foot to the floor and kept that 3rd position.
Meanwhile, at the front, Scott Kruder checking out on this one as the battle heats up as Barney down to the inside of Preston. Wheel to wheel through 3 and 4, 2 laps left to go.
Jason Barney nosed ahead out of turn number 2. He will stay ahead down into 1 and 2. Preston throws it in hard, slides up the banking, and runs out of racetrack.
Just like that, Jason Barney gets some real estate between he and Jonathan Preston with a white flag out. Is Scott Kruder leading over Dylan Westbrook, but this fight wages on for 3rd. And the leader in trouble behind Dan Nanicoke.
Wow, Scott Kruder with issues there. That wouldn't be the first time he had issues with near slower traffic, but Kruder going to hang on and take the win. Westbrook comes home 2nd. Who's it going to be in 3rd?
Oh, Preston tried but ran out of time as Barney shuts the door and gets the 3rd spot. Preston back to 4th. Preston's got to be saying, come on, man, you're already locked in the A-main. Give me an extra inch. But there are no inches given here on this night.
That is 2 heat races in a row where the battle to the checkers for 3rd spot almost resulted in catastrophe on the front straightaway.
Great racing once again in these qualifying heats. 4 down, 2 to go for the 360 sprint cars in qualifying here for the 15th annual Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, supercharged by Nitro 54 variety. My name is Greg Kellnan. With me here in the tower, Adam Ross. Joining us trackside, Clinton Jeffries. We get ready for heat race number 5. Starting lineup will go like this. From the pole out of Sussex, New Jersey, in the Dave Franek Auto Sales Rapid Tire Escape RV 28F, it's Davey Franek. Alongside him from Cloverdale, Ohio, the M&W Construction, Miller Construction 17 of Jared Horseman. Starting in third out of Kokomo, Indiana, the Victory Games Original Traders Energy Chalk Stick 67X, the law firm Parker Price Miller. And going from fourth out of Welland, Ontario, the Ohsweken Speedway Case IH0H of Jim Hoopinen. Starting in the 5th spot, best appearing car here for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals out of Caister Center in the Charlie B. Honey, Pius Spring and Alignment, Braemar Buildings 11, Jamie Turner. Going from 6th out of Antwerp, New York, the Route 37 Building Supply, Felder's Roofing. Car number 10, that'll be Jeff Cook. Starting 7th from Lewiston, New York, the G&J Contracting 81 is Derek Jonathan. And rolling off 8th out of London, the Pinewood Horticulture Services BS&B Radiator Extreme Metalworks 7, that is Caleb Wood. Going from 9th out of Ohsweken, making his return in the Enrium Dynamics Case IH Ohsweken Speedway, car number 0, the Ohsweken Flyer, Glenn Stiers, alongside out of Charing Cross, the ERW Contracting, Tilbury Auto Sales and RV, Redneck Garage 9B, Scott Burke. 10 cars, 10 laps, top 3 to the A main. Kyle McKenzie with the green flag in hand, ready to turn loose another wild one.
Davey Franek and Jared Horseman lead them down to the green, and they are off.
Horseman really gets sideways. Jim Hoopinen follows suit. That opens the door for Jeff Cook to slip by him into the 4th spot.
Yeah, Jim Hoopinen had to chase that car up the track and just wait and wait and wait before he could get back to the throttle and watch those cars pull away. He's back in the fight now, working his way to the inside, passing 2 cars in turns 1 and 2.
Davey Franek out in front over Parker Price Miller, but Miller works the outside line as he works off of corner number 4 at the line. Franek leads it over Parker Price Miller. Jim Hoopinen in that 3rd spot, that crucial transfer position.
Hoopinen, watch him drive into 3 and 4 if he does it the same as last time. He is as fast going into that corner on the bottom as anybody, but I believe he's given up a little bit on exit.
Side by side for the lead, the law firm on the outside of Davey Franek. As Parker Price Miller works it down the backstretch, all sorts of momentum, but Franek good in that middle lane. Parker Price Miller trying to work the top, gives up a bit of real estate that time.
Davey Franek using all the racetrack he can. He's leaving just enough room for Parker Price Miller, not an inch more.
Jared Horseman riding back in the 5th spot. He's really trying the outside line. That's not working. Meanwhile, at the front, Parker Price Miller will lead at the cross flags. 5 laps in the books, 5 to go, but here comes Franek back in the bottom.
Slide job by Parker Price Miller. Franek says, all right, I'm not going to slide to you. I'm just going to go to the bottom and stay on the bottom.
Coming down to complete lap number 6, Parker Price Miller works around the outside. He'll lead the lap over Franek and Jim Hoopinen. Impressively, Hoopinen's been able to pull away from the remainder of the pack.
Hoopinen's closing in on Davey Franek in that 28 machine. Still running the extreme low groove in 3 and 4, able to get his left side tires down into the tacky clay on the inside.
3 laps left to go in this qualifying heat number 5 of 6. Parker Price Miller, Davey Franek, Jim Hoopinen. Those are the 3 transfer cars. It's a good straightaway back now to Jeff Cook in 4th. 5th is Jared Horseman in the 17, and then you've got Jamie Turner behind him in 6th.
So Jamie Turner right now has the last ticket to the B main. Not exactly where he wants to be, but it could be worse, like it is for Derek Jonathan, Scott Burke, Caleb Wood, and Glenn Stiers.
Parker Price Miller catches the back of the pack with the white flag on the field. Will this lap traffic play a factor in the finish? Parker Price Miller trying to seal the deal and get another checkered flag here this weekend.
Glenn Stiers goes a lap down in this heat with Parker Price Miller, Davey Franek, and Jim Hoopinen transferring straight to the A main.
So it'll be Jeff Cook, Jared Horseman, and Jamie Turner going to the B main. Everyone else, Derek Jonathan, Scott Burke, Caleb Wood, and Glenn Stiers will go to the C here tonight. Parker Price Miller is as advertised. Picks up the win in heat race number 5 over Davey Franek. And another home track regular having an impressive outing. Jim Hoopinen in that Steyrs Racing 0H.
Could this be the year, Greg, that an Ohsweken Speedway regular wins the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals? It would be a first in the 15-year history of this event.
Closest we've come. Jamie Collard finishing 3rd one year, and he's also the only regular to lead a lap. Is that correct, Tommy Googe, our statistician? Yes. The only Ontario-based driver, a regular here at the Speedway, to lead a lap in the Nationals. That could very well change here tonight as we get ready for the 6th and final qualifying heat, going from the pole in this one. From North Granby, Connecticut, the Lucky's Trailer Sales, Brignell Vineyards, 91H, Scott Holcomb. Alongside him from Dunville, Ontario, and the Kingpin Farms, Burger Barn Aitken Motors 91, it's Ryan Turner. Starting in 3rd was fantastic in time trials tonight. The driver to Port Colborne, Ontario. And the Goleta Flooring 22, Sean Slider. And his outside, 2nd place in the points here in the regular season at Ohsweken Speedway out of Mississauga, the Nitro 54 variety, Ripshot Car Star 17X, the highlight man, Mac Demand. He'll roll off 4th. Going from 5th out of Bradford, Pennsylvania, the Bundle of Warmth, McCourt's Auto Body Performance Powder Coating 35, the Juice, Jared Zimbardi. And starting in 6th out of Jarvis, Ontario, in the Mike Garrick Dodge Chrysler, Emma Smoke Shop, Modern Auto Parts, number 8, the Hurricane, Hannah Farrell. Starting in 7th out of London in the 4-wide design, Speedy Auto Machine 15F, that's the President, Mike Farrell. And alongside him, starting 8th out of St. Catharines, the Goleta Flooring Services, Hayner's Discount Tire and Auto Parts, Dave's Paint Shop, 22 Junior of Alan Goleta Jr. Going from 9th out of Thamesford, Ontario, the Vipon Fire Protection, Dowler Carn, Three Bridges Automotive 45L, that's Curtis Gartley. And rounding out the running order in the 10th starting spot from St. Williams, the D&W Group, Wooly Lamb, Gales Auto Aftermarket 21 of John Burbridge Jr. Don't see John making the call for this one as we get ready for the green flag in the final qualifying heat. Heat race number 6 is clean and green into 1.
A pair of number 91s lead the way down into 1 and 2, and Mac Demand straight to the outside in that 17 machine. Didn't go entirely well for Demand. He's going to try again in 3 and 4. Keep it a little bit lower on the racetrack this time.
He's in that 3rd spot right now, but Sean Slider's right there as well. What a great start to the night for him. That 22 car, he's right there hanging with the top 3. Right now it's Holcomb, Turner, and Mac Demand running 1, 2, and 3.
Down across the line they come. Holcomb in the 91, Turner in the 91 as Mac Demand goes to the outside. They almost make contact on the front straightaway. Slider is not quite falling back, but he had a little trouble there in turn number 2, and now he did fall back.
Across the line to complete lap number 3. Holcomb is your leader. Ryan Turner in 2nd, but he's feeling the pressure from Mac Demand. Mac will try any line that he can to find the fast way around. That's why he is the highlight man. Here he is right there in the tail tank of Ryan Turner, working off of corner 4, completing lap 4.
4 laps into this one, Slider actually closing in a little bit on Mac Demand, and the 17 Demand has settled into the 3rd spot, and Ryan Turner has figured something out there in the 91. He is getting away a little bit. I don't know if he's closing in on the leader Holcomb, but he is definitely gapping himself from Mac Demand.
5 complete, 5 to go in the 6th and final qualifying heat for the 360 sprint cars with Holcomb out in front. Scott Holcomb, the driver to North Granby, Connecticut, leading the way over Ryan Turner, Mac Demand. Those are the 3 A-main transfer cars. And then you have Sean Slider, the 35 of Jared Zimbardi, and Curtis Gartley right now looking to be B-main cars.
The top 4 almost equally spread out around the racetrack. I had 8 car lengths between 1st and 2nd, 5 car lengths between 2nd and 3rd, 8 car lengths between 3rd and 4th. They're all running that bottom groove right now.
Holcomb leads it into corner number 3. Just smooth and steady. With 2 laps left to go this time by the starter stand. Ryan Turner solidly in that 2nd spot, as is Mac Demand. But I'll tell you what, Sean Slider has not gone away, and he is impressed thoroughly tonight. Continues to do so as Mac Demand does a wheel stand off of corner 2.
How do you get enough bite to do a wheel stand on this track?
White flag is out. Can McDeman hold on one more lap? Sean Slider's right there.
Oh, and McDeman struggles in 1 and 2. Something is wrong on the 17. He almost stopped in the corner.
Sean Slider smells blood in the water. Checkers out for Holcomb. At the line, Ryan Turner second, and Sean Slider races his way into the A main. McDeman comes home fourth. Jared Zimbardi fifth. Sixth will be Curtis Gartley. Those 3 cars to the B. And it's Hannah Farrell, Alan Galetta, Mike Farrell going to the C. So Scott Holcomb picks up the win, the driver out of Connecticut, over Ryan Turner. And how about the night Sean Slider is having, coming to third? McDeman.
Flat left front, Greg caught him there with 2 laps to go. Flat in that left front, clipped the inside wall, and that's why Demand faded out of this one. May need a hook here on the outside of turn number 1.
Well, let's take this opportunity to take a break. You're watching All North Racing on MAV TV Canada, powered by Pinty's. Welcome back to All North Racing on MAV TV Canada, the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. It is time for our Strickland's GMC Crate Sprints. Heat race number 1. This is how they're going to line up. On the pole in the 50 LS out of Kitchener, Adrian Staley in the 50 LS. Outside of him out of Hagersville, the 49H is Jerry Hill. Starting third from Hagersville, the 14T is Noel Teal. Starting fourth from Six Nations, the number 20, the Iceman, Johnny Miller. Starting fifth from Stony Creek, the 24A is AJ Lewis. And starting sixth from Ancaster, the 51 is Trevor Young. Starting seventh from Font Hill, the 08 is Stephen Beckett. And starting 8th from Caledonia, the R52 is Ryan Hunsinger. Starting 9th from Thamesford, the 14 is Eric Gledhill, and rounding out the field from Carlisle, the 1C of Davey Boughton, who used social media, Clinton. He broke the rear end in that race car in practice earlier on. He jumped on social media to ask any of his competitors if they had a rear end he could use, and here he is starting shotgun on this heat. They made repairs to that car, and he is ready to race as heat race number 1 is underway.
Already off to the bottom of 1, Adrian Staley with the advantage onto the back straightaway. They go. Jerry Hill trying to find a line in the 49, and he will take up the runner-up position.
Down into turn number 3, 3 wide. Ryan Hunsinger to the inside of Noel Teal. She was to the inside of Trevor Young as she got all kinds of sideways in the turn. Out front, it continues to be Staley over Jerry Hill in the 49.
AJ Lewis and Johnny Miller side by side through 3 and 4. Lewis on the bottom, Miller will fade back on the top, but he comes back with a big crossover to the bottom, and the 20 up into the position number 3.
Johnny Miller made a beautiful crossover there to take the 3rd spot. AJ Lewis back to 4th. Beckett running in 5th with Ryan Hunsinger battling Trevor Young for 6th.
Adrian Staley, rookie here out of the pavement ranks. First year on the dirt, looking good here, leading at the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. And look at Johnny Miller roll the bottom at him. He just cut up half the distance between himself and second place Jerry Hill.
Stephen Beckett has made the pass on AJ Lewis for the 4th spot, so Beckett up to 4th, AJ Lewis back to 5th. We're halfway through this heat, 4 laps down, 4 laps to go.
Everybody getting single filed out now. Stephen Beckett back there around position number 4. 5th is AJ Lewis, and then Ryan Hunsinger, who kind of dropped out of the Ohsweken round. Problems for Gledhill. Gets around in 2, stays in the gas, and we continue here down the back straightaway.
He had made some contact with Trevor Young in the 51, got that car around backwards, did a great job to keep his foot on the throttle and keep it going. Here comes Stephen Beckett to the inside of Johnny Miller for 3rd.
Yeah, Miller a little bit out of shape out of 2, and Beckett will capitalize that and roll the inside line right up in front of the 20 car with 2 to go for leader Adrian Staley, but Miller fights back on the bottom.
Stephen Beckett just slammed the door shut. Miller tried to get in on the bottom of the corner. Beckett went right to the inside of the track. So Miller had to get on the binders, slide up the racetrack.
Solid drive for Jerry Hill out of the Hills Racing team here. Looking good as he holds on to position number 2, but Stephen Beckett pulls up to the back tail tag and waits to strike the 49H.
Checkered flag in the air this time. Staley with the win in the number 50. Finishing second is Jerry Hill, then it's Stephen Beckett, Johnny Miller in the 20, AJ Lewis in the 24, Ryan Hunsinger in the 52, Davey Boughton with a decent run in that 1C, then Trevor Young in the 51, and rounding out the field after his 360 spin is Eric Gledhill.
Let's quickly talk about how points are going to shake out for the Action Sprint Tour. This is their final event of the season. We will be using member points for the Action Sprint Tour. The top 18 in Action Sprint Tour points went to 6 races or more. They will be in the point standings, and they will be the ones that will get points tonight. How we will do it is if the first Action Sprint Tour regular across the line will get position number 1 points, and the second will get second, third, and third. Even if they're down in 7th and 10th spot in tonight's rundown, we will accordion them all back up and align the points that way for the regulars on the Action Sprint Tour. For everybody else, just a fun night of racing here at the Big O. One last chance to get around the clay.
So basically there is a race within a race tonight. Drivers who are members of the Traveling Crate Sprint Tour, the Action Sprint Tour, will be duking it out amongst themselves while also racing with drivers who aren't members of that sprint tour. As heat race number 2 rolls onto the track now, and if you're watching our broadcast, you saw a replay of Noel Teal on the 14T getting completely sideways right between Ryan Hunsinger. I'm trying to remember who the car was on the outside. Stephen Beckett on the outside in the 08. That could have been catastrophe at turn number 4. She pulled off the track on the very next lap. Let's give you your starting lineup for heat race number 2. Starting on the pole from Rockwood, the 74 is Rob Neely. Starting second from Ohsweken, the 69 is Josh Hill. Starting third from Niagara Falls, the 70 is Bailey Hurd. And starting fourth in the number 19 from Gore's Landing is Brandon Merle. Starting fifth out of Mount Bridges, our young champion at Ohsweken Speedway, 14 years old, number 45 is Nick Sheridan. Starting sixth from Brantford, the 49L is Lucas Smith. Starting seventh from Freelton, the 43 is Darren Dryden. Starting eighth from Ohsweken, the 9C is Brian Nanakoke, and rounding out the field, starting in the 9th position from Binbrook, the 29 is Liam Martin.
Stacked up and ready to go here in this qualifying heat for the Action Sprint Tour, their final race of 2019. The veteran, Rob Neely, not so much on the dirt, but this guy has logged a lot of laps in Ontario and around Canada.
I'm not sure that was the best line for Rob Neely coming to the green flag as he got up out of the tacky clay, but it seems to have worked out for him as he leads down the back straightaway ahead of Hill, Bailey Hurd, and Brandon Merle.
I'm anxious to see this battle. Yeah, there it's on right now. Back mid-pack, Lucas Smith and Nick Sheridan. Those two went at it for the points championship. Lucas Smith gets by. Nick Sheridan moves himself into the 6th spot.
A few of our young Lions out here in this one. Bailey Hurd, Liam Martin, Lucas Smith, Nick Sheridan. And Sheridan is struggling out there in that 45.
It's Neely and Hill right now, 1 and 2. Neely out in front, Hill in that 2nd spot, working a lane higher as he guides it off of corner number 4, running one of his best heat races yet in an Endrium Dynamic 69.
Yeah, this is as good a drive as we've seen Hill have in that 69 machine. Same with Brandon Merle in the 19, running in the 3rd spot, trying to close that gap on our lead duo.
Over the cross flags in this qualifying heat for the Action Sprint Tour. Rob Neely, Josh Hill, Brandon Merle. Liam Martin's doing all he can to get by that 19 car. Got the doors shut on the front stretch. Tries to get ahead of steam off of 2.
He's got to bite the brakes down the back straightaway as Brandon Merle comes up to the wall. That's his line to run. Martin's going to try again on the outside out of turn number 4. This time Merle leaves the lane open on the outside.
Rob Neely just staying smooth and steady on the inside line as Liam Martin finally makes the outside work past Brandon Merle. Now sets his sights on Josh Hill, tries to work to the outside of corner 4, has the head of steam, gets by into 2nd, and now looks at the leader.
Great 3-way battle at the front. In fact, there's 5 cars still in contention. If Rob Neely could only see what was going on behind him, he's doing a great job. He's going to see the white flag in the air. What he hasn't seen is how close his competition is on his rear tail tank.
Here comes Liam Martin. He's got a head of steam worked up on the outside line. Here he goes through corner number 2, works it down the back stretch, got to run into corner 3.
One last opportunity. Rob Neely down on the inside. Liam Martin up high. He swings it around turn 4. Martin to the win. Neely 2nd, Hill 3rd, then is Lucas Smith, Merle, Bailey Hurd, Darren Dryden, Brian Nanakoke, and Nick Sheridan.
Good race up front. You could almost feel it with Liam Martin. He was just picking away a little bit each lap and got by for the win.
And why would Rob Neely even think of changing his line? It had worked so well for him that entire race. He's just running the same line he ran the whole time. Liam Martin sweeps in on the outside and steals the win in heat race number 2. Heat number 3 about to roll onto the racetrack. Here's how they're going to line up. Starting on the pole in the MK8 from Hagersville, Matthew Hill. On the outside of row number 1, he's doing double duty tonight, racing in the crate sprint cars and in the 360 sprint cars. Driving the number 5D from Port Colborne is Jacob Dykstra. Starting third from Beachville, the 5 is DJ Christie. Starting fourth from Brantford, the 69K is Jason Dixon. Starting fifth from Burford, the 12 is Brad Heron. Starting sixth from Waterloo, the 19D is Alan Downey. Starting 7th from Scotland, the 83 is Spencer Davis. Starting 8th from Ancaster, the 26X is Terry Baker. And starting 9th from Beamsville, the 1A is Paul Klager. And so many people choose tonight to bring a lot of guests out to the racetrack. We know DJ Christie and the gang have representatives and friends here from DeGroot Hill. Jamie Turvey is here from ADS Drainage, and Johnny Antle, whose name is on the front wing sideboard. So all of the sponsors on that beautiful yellow number 5 of DJ Christie here tonight to take in the show. And I think DJ Christie is a driver who really wants to forget about last week's championship night and move on and make this his memory going into the off season, Greg.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different memories for different drivers this year. This division has just become the most just diverse. And of course, this is a tour race, but Friday nights we host these cars here at Ohsweken, and there were so many cool storylines. That's just one of many here in 2019.
DJ Christie in the 5, Paul Klager in the 1. I believe they finished 5th and 6th in the points. Neither of them even qualified for the feature last Friday night, so they want better for tonight. And DJ Christie right up on the rear bumper of Hill as they race down into 1.
Good 4-wide battle towards the back as Paul Klager gets out of that unscathed, now to the inside of Alan Downey in 3.
Christie drives it deep into 3 and 4, able to keep the car on the bottom. Alan Downey got a good run into the corner. Brad Heron in the Ohsweken Speedway number 12. He had a great start going down the back straightaway. It looked like he was going to launch himself towards the front. And then he lost a couple of spots in 3 and 4.
Here's the fight for the second spot. DJ Christie down to the inside of Jacob Dykstra in the 5D machine. Put Christie into the second position behind Matt Hill, as the Hills are having a good night here tonight. Matt running well in that Nitro 54 variety number 8.
Paul Klager in the 1-8, the 12 of Brad Heron, the 26 of Terry Baker. They're having a fantastic battle. All of them running the bottom of the racetrack and swapping spots lap after lap. Meanwhile, at the front, Hill continues to lead the way with DJ Christie trying to close the gap.
Stand by, the cross flags go up in the air. 4 laps complete with Matt Hill. No caution flag out as Jason Dixon comes to a stop in corner number 2. So we'll stay at 3 laps complete in this qualifier.
The Ken's Auto number 69K of Jason Dixon. He'll wait for one of our push trucks to head out there. They are on their way now, but at the front it has been all Matt Hill. Both of the Hills, Josh Hill and Matt Hill, really looking strong tonight in our last event of the season. Jason Dixon gets a push off. He will restart at the tail end of the field right behind Spencer Davis in that 83 machine. And let's see if Paul Klager or Brad Heron or Terry Baker can make any progress. As we have a look at the replay, Jason Dixon, just a simple single car spin there in turn number 2. Alan Downey is one we talked about all season long. He came from iRacing, a simulated racing game, into real racing. An amazing story is Alan Downey in that number 19.
You'd have no clue to watch him and say that's the only racing experience he had, because he's run very smooth and solidly. He's in a fight with Paul Klager now, but the fight for the lead is heating up as well as DJ Christie right there with Matt Hill.
Matt Hill getting up the racetrack a little bit out of turn 4, but DJ Christie gets up as well. Now they'll both fight back to the bottom with Jacob Dykstra looking to the high side in the 5D. Here goes Christie to the inside for the lead.
Got a good launch off of corner number 2 in that DeGroot Hill Chevrolet number 5 Star. Works it off of the 4th corner and stretches the advantage now for Matt Hill going into corner 1.
Paul Klager got around Alan Downey, so Klager in that Schneider Electric number 1 up into the 4th spot. Downey back to 5th. Right behind him, Terry Baker just made a pass for the 6th spot as we've got 2 laps to go.
DJ Christie, Matt Hill, Jacob Dykstra, Paul Klager, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then there's a gap back to Alan Downey in the 5th position. Terry Baker behind him in 6th. Spencer Davis 7th. Brad Heron 8th and 9th. Jason Dixon.
White flag is out as DJ Christie putting some distance between himself and Hill. Paul Klager works his way up into the 3rd spot with Jacob Dykstra working the higher groove on the racetrack, sort of around the middle line, but he just can't get the power down. At the front, the checkers fly for DJ Christie.
Christie with the win. Matt Hill with a nice drive to the 2nd spot. Paul Klager really got business going here in this one. Came from the back row up to the 3rd spot. Jacob Dykstra 4th, 5th Alan Downey, 6th Terry Baker, 7th Spencer Davis, 8th Brad Heron, and 9th will go to Jason Dixon.
And we have one more qualifying heat before all of our heat races are completed. And then it'll be into C main for the 360 sprints and a B main for the crate sprints. And for those who might be new, what we mean when we say crate sprints is these cars run an engine from General Motors that comes out of a crate. You can't send them to a fancy engine builder. Well, they do. They make a few changes to these engines to make them suitable for sprint car racing, but by and large, it's a factory stock engine. Is that fair to say, Greg?
Well, I'll jump in here, Adam. Basically, yes, Adam, they're buying a 602 crate engine for about 4,500 Canadian, sending it off to their choice of one of the 3 sealed engine builders, who then put the seals on it, change the timing chains, oil pan, and put a cam spud on the back that will power the fuel pump. And other than that, these cars are almost the exact same as their big brother.
Right, and the 360 Sprints, a 360 cubic inch engine, they're a performance-built racing engine, so a lot more horsepower, but the cars, by and large, are exactly the same.
Yeah.
Here's how they're going to start in heat race number 4 in the crate sprints. On the pole from Beamsville, the 88H is Josh Hansen, and to his outside from Caledonia, the 88 of Jesse McDonald. Starting 3rd from Waterdown, the 5C is Connor Mahoney. Starting 4th from Salmon Arm, British Columbia, the 26 is John Verney. Starting 5th from Ohsweken, the 28 is Jordan Hill. Starting 6th from Welland, the 3B is Blaine Barrow. Starting 7th from Ohsweken, the 38 is Derek Miller. Starting 8th from Hamilton, the 56 is Derek Lemaire. And rounding out the field from St. Thomas, driving the Oakwood Transport number 4. We're used to seeing Hannah Farrell behind the wheel of this one. Tonight, it is Jessie Costa as Hannah Farrell focuses on her 360 sprint car ride.
Josh Hansen doing double duty here tonight. Not normal rule on Friday nights. Pretty sure that is the rule, that you cannot compete in both sprint car divisions, but because this is an Action Sprint Tour event and Josh is running for the title, he's allowed to race in both events here tonight with Jesse McDonald leading over, said Josh Hansen.
Hansen a little bit gingerly down into 3 and 4 as we see fireworks off at turn number 3 in the distance. Jesse McDonald leading the way in that number 88 over Hansen. 3rd, John Verney impresses me. He's not a spring chicken by any stretch. He flies out from British Columbia to race this car a few times a year, and he's in there against some stout competition, making real nice laps.
And that name is a name that I remember from years gone by when Kevin Jobe was one of the top runners in the sprint car division here, and he was a part of the crew there, helping Kevin to some success in sprint car racing. So good to see John back here wheeling in a good spot right now.
And Kevin Jobe's name will be familiar. Wow, that was a mouthful. Familiar because he finished 3rd in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, which is the best ever finish for a local driver. There's been a few of them who have finished 3rd. Ohsweken Speedway regulars, Kevin Jobe was one of them.
Cross flags in the air in this final qualifying heat for the Action Sprint Tour. Presented by RaceRivals.com. Jesse McDonald out in front for Josh Hansen, John Verney, Jordan Hill riding back there in position number 4. And here's Jesse Costa in his first ride with the Bar Motorsports team. He's up in 5th. It's to be a different feel to slip behind the wheel of someone else's car, I'm sure. Jesse's getting it done. He's worked halfway through the field.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because they would have to make significant changes in that cockpit to fit Jesse Costa compared to Hannah Farrell.
Most recent winning crate sprint car at the track is that 4 car that Jesse Costa is driving. Hannah got her first win season championship night. White flag is out for Jesse McDonald, and if he can hold on one more lap, Adam, good for him to get a checkered flag, because he has had a rough season here in 2019.
He has had some horrific crashes in that 88 machine as he works through 3 and 4 for the final time, working the bottom of the racetrack. Jesse McDonald going to take the heat race win, followed by Josh Hansen. John Verney in the 26. Finishing 4th was Jordan Hill in the 28. Rounding out the top 5 was Jesse Costa in the 4. That'll do it for qualifying heats. I believe what we see back there is the C main ready to roll out.
360 sprint cars ready to go with the C main. That'll be 12 laps in the top 6. We'll transfer to the B main, and we'll be right back with that when we return on All North Racing, powered by Pinty's. All North Racing, powered by Pinty's at Ohsweken Speedway for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, and we are ready with the C main. 12 laps, top 6 drivers will transfer. 24 cars to be in the C main. Going from the pole at Lowville, New York, the Westward Painting Company 3. It'll be Denny Peebles alongside in the second starting spot from Charing Cross ERW Contracting 9B of Scott Burke. Going from 3rd out of Lewiston, New York, the G&J Contracting 81 of Derek Jonathan. And going from 4th from Jarvis, Ontario, the Mike Eric Dodge Chrysler, car number 8 of Hannah Farrell. Going from 5th out of Port Layton, New York, the Tioga Construction 7 CS, that'll be Dylan Swernick. And going from 6th out of Port Byron, New York, in the high side racewear, car number 2, Dave Axton. Lining up 7th out of Wapakoneta, Ohio, the Ferris Commercial Mowers 23, Devin Doby. And starting 8th out of Wilsonville, the Town Line Variety, Original Traders Energy 77X, the Six Nations sensation, Alex Hill. Starting at 9th out of Rochester, New York, the Elap Smokers Boutique 121 of Steve Glover. And from 10th out of St. Catharines, the Galetta Flooring Services 22 Junior of Alan Galetta Jr. Starting 11th out of Kitchener, the Nitro 54 Variety, MMBO Direct Marketing, Creative Edge car number 9 of Steve Lyons. And to his outside from Ohsweken, the Nitro 54 Variety 15 of Dan Nanico. Going from 13th out of Port Colborne, the Coldwell Banker Tim's Lawn Care 5JD of Jacob Dykstra, and his teammate lines up alongside the 14th spot from Bedford, the Jennifer Hatch Coldwell Banker Tim's Lawn Care 5D of Shane Ross. Going from 15th out of Clay, New York, the Little Cobra Designs 99, John Trenka. And starting alongside in 16th from London, the Pinewood Horticulture Services car number 7 of Caleb Wood. Starting at 17th from Stephentown, New York, the Reifenberg Contracting 90T of Matt Tanner. And going from 18th out of London, the 4-wide Design 15F, the President, Mike Farrell. Starting 19th out of Scotland, Ontario, the Town Line Variety Ackland Insurance 87X of Sean Evans. And alongside at the 20th spot from Bath, Ontario, the RL Asphalt 16L, Roger Levesque. Lining up 21st out of Ohsweken, the Edram Dynamic 0 of the Ohsweken Flyer, Glenn Stiers. Starting 22nd from Picton, Ontario, the Elbrook Excavating 84 of Tyler Rand. From 23rd out of Bradenton, Florida, the Amalie Oil 28M of Connor Morrell. And going from 24th out of St. Williams, Ontario, the D&W Group, Willie Lamb. Gales Auto Aftermarket 21 of John Burbridge Jr. So again, 12 laps. Top 6 will move on to the back of the B main.
And a few of the drivers didn't make the call for this C main, but most of them did, and this is going to be a hotly contested event. Let me finish the shout out that I started during the break, because during the break it wouldn't have worked. So thanks to Kevin Angel from Edmonton making the long drive out, and a shout out to his boy Kieran Angel watching at home. Thanks to both of you for watching the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
Guys, just want to mention John Burbage Jr. is supposed to make the call on this one, found cracks in the frame, decided it wasn't good. They put it on the trailer. Burbage is out for the night.
Green flag goes in the air, and Denny Peebles launches it of a cannon off of corner 4, leads him down into corners 1 and 2 with Hannah Farrell in tow.
Everybody slides up the racetrack down into 1 and 2, waits for traction and heads back down the back straightaway. Glenn Steyer's in the 0 car towards the back, made a nice run into turn number 3. Got a little bit bottled up, but we're keeping one eye on the 0 machine as we've got one around. That's Dan Nanakoke in 1 and 2.
Everyone takes a base of action, gets around the driver of the 15 machine as we go under the caution flag with 1 lap on the board here in the C main. So Dan Nanakoke in that Nitro 54 variety. Big Dog Wing Sauce machine goes around, and he had a good start to that C main, but lost it down there.
Well, one thing that is going to help him and anybody else who has to go to the back tonight is double file restarts. Not what we see on a regular basis at Ohsweken Speedway.
A new paint scheme for the 15 of Nanakoke. Steven the boy surprised him this week with that look, and want to thank Dan for all he did last year when this race was in jeopardy. Came to us and said, what do we got to do to fix it? Got behind it with support of his business, Nitro 54 variety, and the event for the 15th year, stronger than ever, and a lot to do with Dan jumping on board last year to make that happen for us. Also want to thank all our big sponsors this weekend. Also Bradshaw Brothers, Aero Express, and of course our good buddies over at Burger Barn.
Dan just a little hot in the corner 1, loops it around, no harm, no foul, everyone got by.
The only harm is that he spun himself out of a transfer spot. He was up there racing amongst the top 6, towards the tail end of that top 6, but now he's got about 16 drivers between himself and where he needs to be.
He looked good last night.
He looked great last night, had a good drive. That's got to be a confidence builder for him. Race director Doug Leonard, he works in the next room to us, Greg, but we can hear him barking out the lineup. So the way they communicate with our drivers, there's no spotters for these drivers. So they have no one on the radio like you might see in other types of racing telling them where to go. But they do have a receiver so they can listen to the race director and get instruction on where they need to be, what order they're supposed to be in.
Looks like the field is pretty much in shape. And they heat pretty quickly when they hear Doug over the radio.
He's fairly assertive over the radio when he speaks to the drivers, but gets a lot of respect. We've got 2 ladies right now in our top 6, Hannah Farrell in the number 8, Alex Hill in the 77. We'll see if they can stay up there and transfer spots. You mentioned earlier Hannah Farrell picking up her first career sprint car win. Well, his first career full-size sprint car win. She won the Crate Sprint Car feature last Friday night.
He's made a handful of 360 sprint car starts this year. Back at the Summer Nationals, ran at Martinville with the Southern Ontario Sprints last weekend. Here again this weekend with their own number 8 machine. As they come to the green flag, Denny Peebles again, really good on the launch.
Watching how gingerly these drivers take them down into the corners. You can't really charge the racetrack right now. There's just not enough bite, so you got to find the sweet spot, find a line nobody else is running, and do it better than everyone ahead of you. It's not an easy thing to do.
Denny Peebles leads a good fight for the 2nd spot. Dylan Swernick and that 2 car of Dave Axton have been side by side since the drop of the green flag, and one goes around in 4. Oh, somehow everyone avoids, and we stay green as the 22 of Alan Galetta Jr. gets out of harm's way.
That was pretty impressive for everyone to avoid them. 1 car on the move right now, I believe, is Matt Tanner in that 90 machine, a white car with a black wing, and we've got trouble in turn 2.
And Alan Galetta goes around this time in corner number 2, bringing us back under the caution flag. There he sits in corner number 2 with Denny Peebles leading over Dave Axton, Dylan Swernick, Hannah Farrell. We've also got Shane Ross up there and Derek Jonathan. They're disputing who's 5th right now. Those would be the 6 cars right now in a transfer spot. Devin Doby is right on the outside, the driver out of Wapakoneta, Ohio. Sitting in 7th. He's had some really good runs, but just can't seem to get by those transfer position cars when he needs to. He's got a fast machine.
On a racetrack like this, when it's technical and tough to get the power down, Greg, you have to be decent all the way around. We'll see drivers that are really fast in one spot on the track, and then they give it all away just with one mishap or with one poor decision on the line they should be running.
Well, the line I've been watching is that 5D running back there in 5th spot. This car has been running marvelously up around the top, keeping it really straight as everybody bunches up on the bottom. Watch for this guy up on the outside. Is that Jacob in that one?
Oh, that's Shane Ross.
That's Shane Ross. And the one that I was watching before that yellow flag was Matt Tanner in the 90. He is deep in the field right now, about halfway through. So he's got to pass a few race cars to get up into the top 6, but he was showing me some things there with the line he was running. We'll watch for him. There's still 8 laps to go in this C main event.
The field bunched up, just waiting to get back to the green flag here in this C main. Still to come, the B main for the Action Sprint Tour. The pole dash for the 360s, the B main for these 360s, then the Action Sprint Tour main event, and we'll conclude with a 35-lap main event here for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Pat comes back. I think they all think they're ready to go. Kyle McKenzie says, yep, you look good, and the green flag comes out.
I had a little bit of hesitation there myself. I thought Kyle McKenzie had the white flag in his hand to give him 1 to go. And on that restart, a good run to the outside for Matt Tanner. Also Sean Evans in the 87X. They're still not up into the top 6, but they're a little bit closer than they were.
And Matt Tanner having a good ride here right now as Devin Dobie has found himself up inside the top 6 positions. He worked by Shane Ross on that last restart.
Tanner with a great drive on the bottom of the track. He passes Dobie momentarily for 6th. Dobie gets back on the high side. It is anybody's battle off of turn 4.
Dobie uses the outside line to get around Hannah Farrell and tuck himself in behind Derek Jonathan in the 81. Hannah Farrell beginning to slide back a little bit as Matt Tanner and Shane Ross work by.
At the front, it's all Denny Peebles by a wide margin over Dave Axton. Big gap back to Swiernick in the 7C, but then it's Derek Jonathan. Right behind him is Dobie, then Matt Tanner, Shane Ross, and Sean Evans, as we got 2 of them stacked up in turn number 1. That is Hannah Farrell.
Steve Glover
and
also.
Steve Glover. Steve Glover's been at this game for quite a while, a long-time modified racer.
Doesn't appear to be much, if any, damage on either car. Looked like Hannah's car was parked kind of right in the headers.
And that's got to be the worst feeling. You're so close to the other driver, and the worst part is you're facing them. I believe the front wing flew off the Hannah Farrell number 8. And we've got a replay of it down into the corner.
That was more adventurous than I thought it was.
I want to have a look at that again, Spencer, if you can cue that up again. Hannah Farrell closed the door on Steve Glover, but I'm trying to figure out how late Glover was to the party there. So Hannah Farrell was trying to give Sean Evans a lot of room. Sean Evans was on the outside of her in the 87X. And Steve Glover saw opportunity on the inside. Not that much different than last night when we watched Aaron Turkey and Dustin Daggett go down into turn 1. And Aaron Turkey had a scary flip, a series of flips up the racetrack in that one.
So we'll have another look at it here, and you're right. Steve Glover says, I see the opening. And it's go time. I mean, Matt Tanner in the 90T is a couple cars ahead of that. He's the next transfer car. You've got to make something happen.
Oh, and you know what? Quite often you don't fault one driver or the other. It's just a couple of drivers looking to be in the same spot. That's what happened there. Looks like both of them will be able to get pushed off. I'm not sure if Hannah Farrell is going to go to the work area. So let's explain that. The work area is in a designated spot tonight, right behind the orange building in the pits. If work needs to be done on the car and Hannah Farrell has a flat left front tire, they will push or tow that car back to the work area, and then she will get 2 minutes. Well, the crew will get 2 minutes to work on that car before they restart the race. So they give these drivers an opportunity to get back on the racetrack. So now it's up to Hannah Farrell heading into the pits to decide whether or not she wants to go to the work area or back to the trailer. We're going to take a quick break on All North Racing on MAV TV Canada. Welcome back to All North Racing, powered by Pinty's. We are about to go back under green in the Sprint Car C-Main event.
Denny Peebles has been very good on these restarts in the 3 machine as he has led the entire C main. He goes down the backstretch with Dave Axton in tow and a hornet's nest behind them.
Well, remember, 6 cars transfer, so the battle for the 6th spot is going to be intense. Right now, Dylan Swiernick seems to be holding up the pack behind him of Doby, who drives to the inside. That was not that much unlike the move Steve Glover just made on Hannah Farrell, only this time it worked.
Where all of a sudden did Tyler Rand and Sean Evans come from? They're kind of up there in the thick of it as well. Started deep in this field, have worked their way through, and they're clawing and fighting to get into this B main.
Right now, Sean Evans is in that 6th position, but he wants more as he looks towards the inside of Swiernick in the 7. He'll run right in his tracks through 3 and 4, 2 laps to go.
Fortunately, a couple of laps ago, Shane Ross pulled off into the infield, had a good solid run going here in the C main, but he is done now for the evening as Denny Peebles is your leader. Dave Axton second, Matt Tanner in third with the white flag out.
Sean Evans, he just saw the Tyler Rand number 84. He's been trying to size up Swiernick to make a move. He keeps having to bite the brakes as he gets a run to the outside, but that's the battle to watch. Tyler Rand is 7th. He needs one more spot.
Checkers out. Denny Peebles wins the C main. He'll go to the B along with Dave Axton, Matt Tanner, Devin Doby, Dylan Swiernick, and Sean Evans gets the final transfer spot. So Tyler Rand, Steve Lyons, Derek, Jonathan, Caleb Wood will be done, as well as Alex Hill, Alan Galetta, Dan Nanico, Glenn Stiers, Mike Farrell. Done for the night, but Denny Peebles will pick up the win in convincing fashion in the C main over Dave Axton, Matt Tanner, Devin Doby, Dylan Swiernick, and Sean Evans made a nice late race charge to keep his hopes alive.
Some good race cars going to be loaded up, done for the night, including Glenn Stiers in the Ohsweken Speedway number 0.
We have playoffs in dirt track racing. It's called the C main, the B main. And every time some more drivers get eliminated.
You know, I was almost offended when you said we have playoffs, because I've always been one, there is no postseason. Every event is a championship. But yeah, you're absolutely right. These are elimination races. I don't like admitting when you're right. I don't care for that.
Well, it's not too often, so. Looks like we are ready for the B mains. Not sure if it's single or plural tonight for the Action Sprint Tour.
1B main for the Action Sprint Tour, and they are about to pop over turn number 3. We can see the push vehicles at work back on the warm-up track.
Last chance to dance for some of these drivers. Last chance to compete for some of them. And last chance to move on to tonight's A main and the Action Sprint Tour finale race.
37 cars showed up tonight for the crate sprints to battle for 24 starting positions. There's going to be a few disappointed drivers when this one ends.
It's been a season-long battle all around Southern Ontario. Merrittville Speedway, Humberstone, Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, and Brighton Speedway also hosting events on the 2019 schedule for the Action Sprint Tour. And it all boils down to this one here tonight with Josh Hansen leading the way. And for some of these drivers, their seasons could end right here.
So they circulate under yellow right now, waiting to get into the proper order. How about the look on that Ryan Hunsinger 52? We mentioned it earlier, but made to look kind of like a rat rod, right, Greg?
Yeah, it's got that rustic scheme on it. Looks pretty sharp for Ryan Hunsinger, and he's one of the drivers I'm kind of keeping an eye on because he comes into this 5th in Action Sprint Tour points. If he doesn't get in through this B main, there's no provisionals for him.
Well, he's going to start on the pole. He's going to have a good view of the driver from Stouffville in the R52. Alongside from Ancaster, the 26X is Terry Baker. Starting in 3rd from Carlisle, the 1C is Davey Boughton, and starting in 4th in the 3B, it's Blaine Barrow. Hamilton is home to the number 56 of Derek Lemaire, and starting in 6th from Niagara Falls, the number 70 is Bailey Hurd. Starting 7th in the 43 out of Freelton, Darren Dryden behind the wheel of the 43, and starting 8th from Scotland, it's Spencer Davis in the 83. Back to the 5th row we go. Brian Nanakoke in the 9C, Canada Fuels entry out of Ohsweken. Alongside him, I believe, is going to be Nick Sheridan in the 45, but there's a little bit of question. It's supposed to be Derek Miller in the 38. Starting 11th, Trevor Young in the 51. 12th is Brad Heron in the number 12. Then is the 14 of Eric Gledhill, the 45 of Nick Sheridan, 69K of Jason Dixon, and the 14T of Noel Teal. Connor Mahoney is out there in the 5C. All the way at the back of this one is, looks like we're just about set and in the proper running order to get things started.
Kyle McKenzie looks him over and will wave the white flag, signifying we'll go to the start of this B main next time by.
Top 4 finishers will make it into tonight's A feature. 17 cars scheduled to start this B main. That means 20 cars have already made it to the A main. The top 4 finishers in this race will make up the last 4 starting spots in tonight's A feature event.
Great field of cars in what is just a B main. Hard to believe here for the Action Sprint Tour, presented by RaceRivals.com. Green flag in the air. Ryan Hunsinger will lead them down into corner 1.
Hunsinger drives it deep down into the corner. He loves that inside groove on a slick racetrack. We've watched him drive that lane to a number of victories in great sprint car competition over the years.
Hunsinger, the gunslinger, works it off the corner, leads the lap. Terry Baker right there in tow. Bailey Hurd and Blaine Barrow.
Trouble down in 1 and 2. Eric Gledhill goes around, gets collected by Brian Nanakoke. They get back on the throttle. Gledhill keeps on going, but Nanakoke looks like the front end.
Yeah, the left front broken on that car. He will guide it down to the wall and put us under the caution flag with 1 lap completed, and the safety crew will go down there to the attention of Brian Nanakoke in the Canada Fuels number 9C.
Brian Nanakoke was a driver who for the last few weeks was campaigning a little bit with general manager Clinton Jeffrey about offering some kind of guarantee to drivers that had followed the entire Action Sprint Tour to have better starting spots or to be guaranteed into the feature event. And that's the thing with this style of racing. There are no guarantees. There really aren't many provisionals. Now, there may be some sort of points provisional for top points getter not already qualified, but I don't think they do that in the Action Sprint Tour.
No, not to my knowledge, and this is going to be a tough break for Brian. See the hook going on the front end of this car and leaving quite a bit of damage from what I saw. Now, we can't quite see from this camera angle that we're looking at, but you can see that left front hanging down.
Yeah, it looks like the front axle's been knocked askew in that car, so that'll be the end of the night for Brian Nanakoke and the end of the season for his Canada Fuels number 9C.
Track cleared, and looks like we'll do another couple of laps here with Ryan Hunsinger leading the way over Terry Baker, Bailey Hurd, and Blaine Barrow. Those are the 4 drivers in transfer positions. But how about, you talked about the story of Davey Boughton. He's right there in 5th.
And he sat out much of this season. Oh, we're going to go back to green right now. The cars are in the proper order. Green flag in the hand of Kyle McKenzie. We're back underway in this B main with just 1 lap complete.
And Ryan Hunsinger didn't waste any time to get back to the green as he pulled out a good size advantage over Terry Baker, the veteran of this division, out in front of her. Baker, Hurd, and here's the challenge for 4th.
Davey Boughton lost some ground going into 1, but boy did he make it up on the exit of turn 2, down into turn 3. Davey Boughton up into the 4th spot.
Working that outside line, he'll shoot down the banking in 2. Has that 4th position away and sets his sights now on Bailey Hurd. as he continues to climb through the field with Hunsinger, Baker, Hurd, and Boughton your top four. And one around Eric Gledhill in corner four keeps a foot in the throttle. Can he keep the car rolling? Yes, he will. We stay green.
Eric Gledhill's had quite a night in that 14 machine, struggling to keep the power down. He'll keep on going, and still in the fourth spot is Davey Boughton in the 1C. He is flirting with disaster up on the outside groove, and he's going around. 360 for Davey Boughton. He carries on, loses 2 spots in the process. He is out of a transfer position, but that was impressive by Boughton.
Out in front, Ryan Hunsinger, Terry Baker. That fight has come a little bit closer as Baker's right there within a car length now of the leader as they work through 3 and 4.
Halfway through, 6 laps in, 6 laps remaining in this B main as Baker has a look to the outside of Ryan Hunsinger on the front straightaway. Drive it down into 1 and 2, just a car whip to the outside of Hunsinger, but Ryan doing a nice job, real steady in that bottom groove, just running consistent laps. Blaine Barrow up into the 4th position in that 3B. Bailey Hurd in the 70 running in 3rd all by himself. So right now, Darren Dryden in that DJD Graphics number 43 as we've got one around in 4. But Darren Dryden is the driver who is in the worst seat in the house, Greg. 1 spot out of qualifying for the feature event.
It's got to feel almost worse when you can see it. It's right there.
So close, yet so
Yet
far.
so far, as they say.
Noelle Teal gets pushed off in the 14T, spins the car around. She'll rejoin the tail of the field.
White flag out. Next time by, we'll come back to the green flag with Terry Baker now leading over Ryan Hunsinger, Bailey Hurd, and Blaine Barrow. Take a look at the replay here for Noelle Teal. She loops it around off of corner 4.
A very slick racetrack for these drivers, so no surprise some of them are struggling with the handling. But an innocent spin, a simple spin, so he rejoins the tail of the field. And now it's up to Terry Baker to bring us back to green in the number 26.
Back underway. Baker, Hunsinger, Hurd, Barrow all working the bottom, and Darren Dryden, as we talked about, he's right there. You can see it, trying to find the fast way around. He's following in the tire tracks of Barrow, while on the outside, Derek Lemaire trying to get something going.
Yeah, Derek Lemaire is working all over the racetrack. Darren Dryden tried going to the outside of Blaine Barrow. There just was no grip there, but he's got a nice run up out of turn number 2, and he closes in on the 3B and that battle for the 4th spot.
9 laps on the scoreboard for Terry Baker as he has stretched his advantage over Ryan Hunsinger, Bailey Hurd, and Blaine Barrow. Darren Dryden biding his time right now with Derek Lemaire trying to catch those 3 drivers. Hurd, Barrow, and Dryden. Here comes Lemaire around the outside with 2 laps to go.
Lemaire up high, Dryden down low. Barrow trying to hold the inside groove. Behind him, it's insanity. Now Trevor Young making a charge in the 51. What a run for Trevor Young out of turn 2 as he got enough time to close in on that 4th spot.
What a race we're seeing for the transfer spot. Here he comes by Dryden. Sets his sights on Blaine Barrow. Baker is checked out. Hunsinger and Hurd right now in a good position as we watch Barrow in that black and silver number 3. Baker gets the win. Hunsinger second, Hurd third, and Barrow will just hold on over Trevor Young. Good run, though, by the driver of the 51. So that puts the B main in the books for the Action Sprint Tour. Terry Baker in the 26X, the 52. The R52, rather, of Ryan Hunsinger, the 70 of Bailey Hurd, and the 3B of Blaine Barrow will transfer on to the finale for the Action Sprint Tour, their final A main of 2019. Up next, looks like it'll be the pole dash for the 360 sprint cars. And then we'll have the B main for the sprints after that, leading us into our A mains tonight. The Action Sprint Tour competing in their final feature, and then we'll do our 35-lap 15th annual Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car Nationals supercharged by Nitro 54 variety. We'll be right back on All North Racing, powered by Pinty's. All North Racing, powered by Pinty's at Ohsweken Speedway for the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, back ready to go racing with the pole dash for the 360 sprint car, setting the stage for tonight's 35-lap main event. Max Stambaugh in the MW Construction. Number 17M lines up on the pole. On the outside out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, the 55. That is Mark Smith. Jordan Thomas in the 79 out of Harding, Pennsylvania, to his outside, the 67. That's a law firm. Parker Price Miller out of Kokomo, Indiana. The Fireball, Steve Poirier, he'll start in 5th at a St. Matthew de Bellevue, Quebec. And the straight shooter, Scott Kruder out of Alden, New York, goes from 6th. 7th is D-Dub's Dylan Westbrook. And outside of him, Sam Haferteep Jr. out of Texas in the 15H. The green flag goes in the air, and Max Stambaugh will lead them down into quarter number 1. Mark Smith trying to use that outside line. Here comes Jordan Thomas working the bottom groove. Through 3 and 4 for the first time, Max Stambaugh works that inside line. Smith trying to get it all wound up. He'll draw even into corner number 1. Loses ground in corner 2. Stambaugh working that inside line to perfection at this point. Smith got a good head of steam into corner number 3, but this time by it'll be Max Stambaugh leading, and now Jordan Thomas to second. Thomas committed to the inside line, gets by Mark Smith. As now the Fireball, Steve Poirier, works that 4th position down to the inside of Mark Smith. The battle for the lead heating up. Max Stambaugh right there with Jordan Thomas. Jordan Thomas in tow down the backstretch. Smith and Poirier. Poirier looks low on him. He'll grab the 3rd spot. White flag going up in the air for Max Stambaugh over Jordan Thomas. Steve Poirier reeling in the top 2 as Mark Smith begins to slide into the clutches of Scott Kruder. Checkers coming out. Here comes Jordan Thomas with a charge on the bottom. The window to Max Stambaugh for Jordan Thomas, Steve Poirier, Scott Kruder, Mark Smith, Parker Price Miller, Dylan Westbrook, and Sam Haferteep Jr. So that's the conclusion of the pole dash. Max Stambaugh of Lima, Ohio, picks up the win over Jordan Thomas. And Steve Poirier marching his way towards the front in the pole dash for the 360 sprint cars. B-main still to come for the 360s as we get ready to talk with the winner, Max Stambaugh, heading down to Victory Lane before a brief intermission here at the Speedway. Max Stambaugh driving out of the Horseman Racing stables. And he's going to take home that fire pit down there in Mr. Transmission Victory Lane. Clinton Jeffrey rolling that out as they get ready to celebrate down there with Max Stambaugh down to Mr. Transmission Victory Lane. We'll send it down trackside with Clinton Jeffrey.
Thanks a lot, Greg, as we get set to roll. Max Stambaugh had troubles after time trials, missed the scales, had to start tailing his heat. He's turning it around pretty quickly here, though, and we'll get out and have a word with the driver of the 17M. Max Stambaugh, here he comes out of the car, and he will pick up this beautiful South Coast Barbecue Pit, fire pit from South Coast Barbecue Pits. Max, congrats, man. Kind of a crazy night for you. Tell us how your night's been going so far.
I made a big mistake early, so we're battling back. I searched around a little bit there in the dash. We feel pretty good. Floyd keeps working on this thing real hard. Joe Horseman, Jared, we come up here every year, and they know who the orange cars are, so we'll put up a fight tonight.
Talk about track conditions. Looks very smooth out there, a little bit slick. You really got to pedal these cars tonight.
This is what makes the driver, you know. So you got to get the car right, but you got to get the driver. So I think we're pretty close. There's a lot of good cars here, though. So we get a good finish tonight, we'll be real happy. But hey, if we won one, that would be really good too.
Let's face it, by missing the scales, you're basically last in time trials. Now you're going to start the pull here tonight. That's pretty special.
Hey, we'll take it. Maybe I'll go to the casino after.
There you have it. Max Stambaugh, ladies and gentlemen, who'll be your pole sitter for the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, and will pick up this beautiful South Coast Barbecue Pit fire pit with sprint cars and some awesome emblazing on it. It is beautiful. Make sure you get a good shot of that one, Sean, before we go. And how about it for Max Stambaugh, ladies and gentlemen? He'll be your pole winner tonight in the pole dash.
That's a different trophy right there.
That's pretty cool. Be tough to put that on your mantle.
So Max Stambaugh rallies from the problems earlier in the night, wins the pole dash, puts himself in a fantastic spot on a track where starting up front is going to be very important. We'll be back on All North Racing, powered by Pinty's on MAV TV Canada. All North Racing powered by Pinty's on MAV TV Canada. Here for the 15th annual Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car National, supercharged by Nitro 54 variety. My name is Greg Kellnan up here in the tower. With me as always is Adam Ross, and down patrolling in the infield, Clinton Jeffrey, as we're getting closer to the big events. We still have a B main to come for the 360 sprints, then the Action Sprint Tour finale, and then we head into the 35-lap A main event. $10,000 to the winner, $1,000 just to start. That's why this B main is so important. There's a lot of cash on the line.
You finished 6th in this B main. I think that's how many we transfer from the B to the A. So a 6th place finish is worth $1,000. So it's the same with 5th and 4th and 3rd and 2nd and 1st. But it was more impressive, you know, driving home the 6th place point.
Fantastic racing surface we've seen here tonight. And there you see the format for the B main. 15 laps, maximum of 24 cars, 6 transfer into the A main here tonight. And we've already had 6 drivers transfer from the C main in the B, and those drivers getting ready to turn around. And before we get to that B main, we're going to see Clinton Jeffrey. He's got a track report. He's going to talk up close and personal about what we're seeing out there here tonight.
Well, guys, a lot of work has gone into this track, as you can imagine, over the last couple of days, and especially with all the rain we had last night. The question was, what type of track would we get tonight? Well, it is smooth, it is slick, but there's still lots of bite. We're right down here on the infield of turn 3, and if Sean, if you can zoom in on my foot there, you can see we are actually still making trace. So it is very soft down here. If you get right down on the bottom, still lots of bite. You get up here a bit harder, you can't make any moves. It is super slick, and it is going to get blacker as you go. Farther up the track here, this is where they're really working it, and this is where things really get dicey for these guys. It's slick up here, super hard packed. You're seeing it start to get the shine, as we call it. It's going to be a wild one here tonight, guys.
You know, Greg, you work pretty hard here, don't you? I'd like to think I put in my effort.
It's all smoke and mirrors for me.
Did you see how nice those shoes were that Clinton Jeffrey was wearing? Do you have a pair of shoes like that?
I do not.
I don't either. Huh.
But no one would ever see them if I wore them, so.
It's the thought. I mean.
Well, I tell you where I got these shoes, all right? And Sean, you might want to get a shot of my shoes if they're going to talk about. These are Case IH shoes that our buddy Casey from Case IH O'Neill's got them for me. And I saw them on Facebook, and I said, hey, Casey, how do I get a pair of those? And somehow there was a pair of size 11s, no less than 22 hours when I got to the track the next day. And so I got some new kicks.
You could be a foot model, Clinton Jeffrey, if foot models were really covered in mud
and dirty.
And dirty. We're going to take this opportunity to take another break on MAV TV Canada while we have the chance, so we can show you more racing when we get back from commercial.
All North Racing powered by Pinty's at Ohsweken Speedway. The 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. B main ready to come out onto the Speedway here in just a moment. Last chance to get into the big dance. Of course, Corey Turner scheduled to be in this B main, and as Clinton Jeffrey said, he's deciding to run in it, although he has already clinched a spot, and a good spot at that, Adam.
The top 8 starters in tonight's A main event just ran that pole dash. Corey Turner will start 9th because of winning one of the qualifying races last night. So he wants his opportunity, I would think, to come out here and get some laps on the racetrack. I do think it's a wise choice, but if I were him, I would drop to the back for the green flag. You don't want to be in the middle of that mess coming to the green flag, because these drivers are going to be up on the wheel. They're going to be taking chances, because that's what you have to do to get into the show.
15 laps. Top 6 to transfer. Your starting lineup goes like this. From the pole out of Antwerp, New York, the Route 37 Building Supply, Fielder's Roofing. Car number 10, Jeff Cook. Outside of him from Portland, Michigan, trying to keep the streak alive of being in every A-main of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Driving the Sweet Manufacturing, Next Level Graphics 85, Double D, Dustin Daggett. Going from third out of Thamesford, Ontario, the Vipon Fire Protection Dowler car in 45L, Curtis Gartley to his outside, second place in the points here during the regular season. Out of Mississauga, the Nitro 54 Variety Ripshot Car Star 17X of Mac Demand, the highlight man. Starting fifth out of Amsterdam, New York, the Miller Excavating and Landscaping. Panther Frameworks 88C, Chad Miller to his outside from Brantford, the Brown Auto Service, Hills Tire and Gas, Little Bend 110, Jake Brown. Starting seventh out of Cicero, New York, the Ground Control Lawn and Snow All-Star Performance. Car number 10C, Apolli Cola Giovanni. And riding in the 8th spot out of Romulus, New York, the Williams Insurance Canandaigua Seal Coating, 22P, Jonathan Preston. Going from 9th out of Bradford, Pennsylvania, the Bundle of Warmth, McCurt's Auto Body Performance Powder Coating, 35, the Juice, Jared Zimbardi. And lining up 10th out of Port Jervis, New York, the Profab 56 of Billy Van Inwigen. Going from 11th out of Clay, New York, the Mucci Motorsports, FK Rodins, 98, Joe Trenka. And to his outside out of Beamsville and the Parts Source, J&E Recovery. Car number 88H, that'll be Josh Hansen. Starting 13th from Cloverdale, Ohio, in the MW Construction, Miller Construction, car number 17, Jared Horseman. And going from 14th out of St. Matthew de Beloeil, Quebec, the Four Seasons Foundation, RG Aluminum, 28, Jordan Poirier. Lining up 15th from Dorchester in the Case IH, Stonehouse General Contracting, car number 1, Holly Porter. And going from 16th out of Caister Center, the Charlie B. Honey Mudcat Entertainment Center, car number 11, Jamie Turner. From 16th, going 17th out of Cleveland, Ohio, the 46 Group 46C, Ryan Conium. Lining up 18th from Lowville, New York, he just won the C-Main in the Westwork Painting Company. Car number 3 of Denny Peebles. Going 19th from Port Byron, New York, the Highside Racewear 2 of Dave Axton. From 20th, Stephentown, New York's Reifenberg Contracting, Westward Painting, number 90, T of Matt Tanner. Going 21st out of Wapakoneta, Ohio, and the Ferris Commercial Mowers, Royal Purple 23, that'll be Devin Doby. From 22nd from Port Leyden, New York, the Tioga Construction, Westward Painting, 7CS, Dylan Swernick. And 23rd out of Scotland, Ontario, the Town Line Variety Ackland Insurance 87X of Sean Evans. And also out there, of course, the Petro Plus, Burger Barn Mobile 1, number 13, Corey Turner. Looks like he's going to drop to the tail of the field, just as you said, Adam, and run some laps, but stay out of the trouble.
Yeah, use it as a practice session, because he earned his right to be in this race, to be on the racetrack. I think it's a savvy move by this team. Denny Peebles in the number 3 going to race his way around the track as everybody slotting into their starting positions. What's amazing to me, 6 cars transfer, so the top 6 starters in this race, Greg, were 1 spot out of getting into the show in their heat race, and now they've just got to make sure they don't let anybody by.
Easier said than done, because if you look through this B main, Adam, I think more than ever, there are some bigger names in this B main than we've seen in any of the years gone past. When you look at names like Jeff Cook, Dustin Daggett, Mac Demand now, you know, Jake Brown. Look at Jared Zimbardi.
That's
Jared
a surprise.
Horseman.
Yeah, Zimbardi, Horseman, Trenka, Jeff Cook in the 10.
Jonathan Preston, Paulie Cola Giovanni back there in row 4. Like, it's a stacked B main. This is a quality A main most nights anywhere in the Northeast.
You're right. If we brought this field of cars out onto the racetrack for an A main event, nobody would be asking, hey, where are the stars? Quality lineup.
Double D, Dustin Daggett, trying to keep the streak alive 15 years in a row to make every A main in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Well, guess what? He's got 15 laps to stay right around where he is right now. Stay inside that top 6. The streak stays alive. Some pressure, though, I'm sure, for Dustin Daggett.
This is when you're thankful you were in an early heat. Jake Brown also had a 4th place finish in his heat, but he is right back there with all of those hungry drivers looking to advance their position. Kyle McKenzie with the green flag high in the air in the starter stand, waiting as Jeff Cook and Dustin Daggett bring them through 3 and 4 at a snail's pace.
Kyle McKenzie will cut them loose, and it's about to get busy. Green flag in the air. Jeff Cook rockets the field down into corner number 1.
Down the back straightaway, they are still sorting things out into 3 and 4. Great start by Curtis Gartley in the 45.
Close call on the front. Now trouble up in corner number 1 as Chad Miller goes around. Somehow that was not worse than it was.
Yeah,
wow.
Impressive that everyone was able to miss Chad Miller. That was an unusual trajectory to spin the way he did down into 1 and come to a stop without anybody launching over him. We'll see if we're able to get a replay here, if we had our cameras pointed in that direction.
Well, guys, the Corey Turner 13 is out here, as we mentioned. You know, he didn't have to run this race, but he was actually scheduled to be in it. But because he won one of the triples last night, he gets the spot. You can see him about their half a lap behind, just trying to make sure they keep working on the setup of this Petro Plus 13.
And Chad Miller got up over the left rear wheel of Curtis Gartley in that Vipon number 45 going down into turn 1. We've seen a number of mishaps like that. Just about put his rear bumper right into the cockpit of the Gartley 45 machine. Thankfully, that car settled back down and just slid to a stop. And now our race director, Doug Leonard, is on the one-way radio talking to the drivers about what order they need to be in for this restart, as we did complete 1 lap.
14 laps remain here in this B main, 6 to transfer. Jeff Cook out of Antwerp, New York, a long-time competitor here, the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Maybe our statistician Tommy Gooch will remember. Jeff Cook was here for the first Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
I would assume that he was. Just, I think that was part of the heyday of Jeff Cook. They were a strong team in those days, racing with the Empire Super Sprint. So the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, when it began, welcomed what sanctioning bodies, Greg? Would it be the Empire Super Sprints, Sprints on Dirt, which was largely a Michigan-based group, the Southern Ontario Sprints, the Patriot Sprint Tour. Am I missing any?
I believe it was just the 4 to begin.
And it sort of remained that way, but now they're unofficially sanctioned races, so nobody scheduled races against this event at this point in time, but they're not as involved as they once were.
No, it's become more of a standalone event, although we do have some of the folks from the Patriot Sprint Tour in here, as Mike Hemhoff is always here, and Josh Eldworth is part of the crew as well, and we appreciate their help in bringing us this show, which is always an exciting one. To end the 2019 season, 6 drivers want to make sure their season doesn't end at the end of this race. 14 laps left to settle who will go to the A main and who will load up.
Jeff Cook leads them down into turn number 1, but it's Dustin Daggett with a big run on the outside. They'll go side by side down into 3.
Jeff Cook on the bottom, Double D. Dustin Daggett working that outside line, had to kind of let up just a little bit. Looks down to the inside. Wow, he says, excuse me, I'm going through to the lead, and slings by Jeff Cook.
Big move at the start of this one. Paulie Colagiovanni in that number 10 is up into the 4th spot. Racing right now with Jake Brown in the 110, and right behind them is Jordan Poirier in the 28, and close quarters racing with Billy Van Inwigen.
How important is the top 6 spot? Asked Billy Van Inwigen. He just showed us how important it is. There wasn't a whole lot of racing room, but he said, you know what? If I want to transfer, I have to make this pass.
It is go time. They have got to get on the loud pedal further back. The racing is even more insane. But at the front right now, Dustin Daggett is out ahead by about 15 car lengths over Jeff Cook in that number 10 leading the way. But this is a long race, Greg. We're probably going to see lap traffic play a role in the outcome.
And now Jordan Poirier returns the favor on Billy Van Inwagen and gets back by him into the 6th spot. Put Van Inwagen back into position, 7th of caution flag out. We got a slow one up in corner number 4. That is Devin Doby. Devin Doby, the driver out of Ohio, coming to a stop to the high side of corner number 4. With 5 laps complete and 10 to go in the B main for the 360 sprint cars.
I don't know what happened to Curtis Gartley in the 45. He was up there in the top 5 or so, and now he's most of the way to the back of this field as Devin Doby getting pushed, and that car finally does take a fire. About halfway down the front straightaway, he'll rejoin the tail of the field as we have a look at the replay. Yeah, Doby was towards the tail end of the field to begin with. He did a full 360, but could not keep the car running and came to a rest at the top of turn 4.
This field still getting set. Dustin Daggett out in front. And Jeff Cook in second. Mac to man up there in that 3rd position. Paulie Colagiovanni, you touched on that, Adam, on that last restart. He really got the start that he needed. Jumped up into that 4th spot. Jake Brown 5th, 6th. Jordan Poirier.
If we're able to focus on the tail of the top 5 on this restart, so 1 to go, white flag, next time we'll take the restart, and I don't know if we can do this or not, but folks, pay attention to Jake Brown in the 110, Jordan Poirier in the 22, Billy Van Inwagen in the 56, Joe Trenka in the 98. This is not gentleman racing out there right now. This is, I need the spot more than you do. Take that.
Yeah, that's just what it is, and we've seen that. Some moves out there that you would maybe not do on a normal race night.
I don't even think you'd make those moves in the A main event, but being the B main, 7th place, you just lost yourself $1,000 if you finished 7th and you didn't give it your 100% effort to try to get 6th.
Coming back to the green flag, Dustin Daggett. Jeff Cook will set the pace off of corner number 4. Green lights go on, and they will rock it. Mac Demand does a wheel stand down the front stretch.
Well, the last time we thought he did a wheel stand, he hit the wall and flattened the left front tire. So Mac Demand back in that 4th spot. Now 5th as Jordan Poirier gets by. Mac Demand is on the verge of falling out of a transfer spot. That would be a bit of a shock.
Paulie Colagiovanni's continued his march to the front. He grabs the lead from the moment from Dustin Daggett. Now Daggett takes it back into 3. Colagiovanni squirts ahead in corner number 4. Daggett will rim ride around the outside, lead the lap.
That battle's still back at 4th, 5th, and 6th. Colagiovanni in the 10, Jake Brown in the 110, Mac Demand in the 17. Demand just threaded the needle, shot between Brown and Colagiovanni to get himself up to 4th spot. A little bit of breathing room for the driver of the 17X.
Daggett leads at the cross stripes, 8 laps in. 7 laps left to go over Paulie Colagiovanni. Then it's Jordan Poirier running 3rd. 4th right now, Mac Demand. 5th is Jeff Cook in the 10. The Little Ben 110. That is Jake Brown, the final transfer car. 3 wide behind him for the 7th spot. And it's Jonathan Preston with a head of steam.
And Jonathan Preston has shown all sorts of speed both last night and tonight, as we've got a problem up in 3 and 4. I believe that's Dave Axton that is rolling to a stop on the outside of the racetrack. That will bring another yellow flag with 6 laps remaining in this B main.
Dave Axton worked his way out of the C main into the B and comes to a stop the high side of corner 4 in that high side race where car number 2 looks like he's taking the belts off. And
yeah, when you undo the belt, you know that's not a good sign. Clinton Jeffrey on his way to the scene as he walks up the banking. And we'll get a quick report.
Well, you got Dave Axton here. Dave, what happened?
Well, I don't know. I come down the backstretch and I just felt the motor kind of lay over a little bit. And I don't know if, this is the last one I got, so I want to make sure we don't hurt it.
Thanks for coming up, Dave Axton here, a long way up from New York to make it happen. Said something went wrong in the motor, guys.
And
wants to save it.
If you want to see a driver who's fairly active on social media, he's fun to watch on Facebook. Dave Axton. Look him up, give him a follow. He likes to engage with people.
There's something there constantly.
Yeah.
Very good user of social media.
And I mean, it's rarely pictures of what he ate for lunch. So it's
like you
quality.
Tommy Gooch has confirmed Jeff Cook was here for the first Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. The guy riding behind him right now in that 7th spot, the 22 of Jonathan Preston, his dad, Ray Preston, was in the first Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah, there you go. That means we're all getting old.
No kidding. So white flag next time by. We'll take the green. There'll be 6 laps remaining in this B main, and the top 6 finishers will qualify for tonight's A main event and guaranteeing at least a $1,000 payday. Dustin Daggett, Jeff Cook, they have been most content. Oh, sorry, that's Paulie Colagiovanni up there now, isn't it?
Yep.
They've been most content to come back to these green flags at a slow pace, and it looks like that's what we're doing once again.
Daggett gets on the fun pedal and says, see you later. Checks out, couple car length advantage, but that probably won't last long. Jordan Poirier gets a fantastic run through 1 and 2.
Wow. Poirier with a good run off the corner. Things got hairy a little deeper. Joe Trenka and Jonathan Preston made contact. McDeman with some handling troubles in 3 and 4. 5 laps remain.
So it's Poirier, Daggett, Colagiovanni, Cook, McDeman, and the Brown machine, the Little Bend 110, the top 6 right now. Joe Trenka, Jonathan Preston right behind, side by side behind Brown, trying to get by him.
Jake Brown, not as smooth in that bottom groove as his brother Mitch Brown, but he's doing a nice job protecting the inside and running a comfortable pace down there on the bottom. Although when you're in 6th spot, the last transfer, I'm sure there's not much comfortable about it.
Jordan Poirier sails it down into corners 1 and 2 at a march back towards the front he's had in this one. Dustin Daggett riding comfortably in 2nd to try and keep the streak alive. The battle for 6th, though, is the one heating up. Preston to the outside of Brown.
Brown drives it a little bit deeper in 3 and 4, lets the car slide up. 2 laps to go in this B main, and Preston has taken over 6th.
Right in front of him, Cook and Demand going at it side by side. Brown not going away, though, for the 6th spot as the white flag comes out for the leader.
Brown got a pretty good run through 1 and 2. He lost some of his drive coming off, but he's really trying to pinch the car down as Preston is letting it come all the way to the wall.
The leader works through 3 and off of corner 4. Jordan Poirier is going to punch his ticket into tonight's A main. Oh, one goes around in corner number 1 as the checkers came out. Poirier, Daggett.
No, I don't think the checkers were in the hand of Kyle McKenzie, but I believe the yellow was called before the race ended.
And the checkers were just about to come out to Jordan Poirier.
And the trouble was Kyle McKenzie had the white flag in one hand, the checkered flag in the other hand, so when Doug called yellow, he had to grab the light switch, flip. I believe Kyle flips the yellow lights on, or is that done from the tower?
I believe Doug can do it from up here with the blaze lighting on the fence.
Thankfully, nobody went to the pits thinking that the race was over. This restart has the potential to be an absolute gong show.
They're still disputing back there around 7th, 8th, and 9th who goes where as Jake Brown holds down that 7th spot. 1 spot out of a transfer. Joe Trenka would be the next in line, then Billy Van Inwigen. So they've sorted that out finally.
1 lap for $1,000. Top 6 finishers basically make $1,000. What is 7th place in the pay in the B main? $500. So okay, so I'm making it a little more dramatic than it needs to be, Greg. It's a $500 top 6 finish.
But Adam, you got to remember, it's not all about cash for these guys. A lot of prestige on this event. They just want to race that A main more than they want the cash right now. I'm certain of that.
You make a good point, Clint.
You know, Josh Hansen, who was the cause of this yellow, who will be crowned the Action Sprint Tour champion later tonight, did a great job through the middle part of this B main, guys. He was coming on the outside, got to around 8th, and then lost it on the outside. So he was on the move. So we'll keep working. They need to get Jamie Turner back behind the Swiernick 7, and we'll be good to go.
So Dylan Swiernick gets up ahead of the 11 of Jamie Turner, our best appearing car this year at the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Looks like everything is sorted out. Now, Clinton, you may know this. I was at the drivers' meeting, but me and details don't get along very well. With it being just one lap to go, will it be single file or double file?
Single file, so it's double file till there's about 5 to go. I believe Doug would have said what it was. I believe the first 10 laps are double file, be single file for the last 5 here in the B main. Same thing with the feature. I believe we're double file until 5 to go.
So if you're Jake Brown in the 110, you're one spot out of qualifying. Do you dive to the inside of turn number 1, Greg, or do you drive it in deep on the outside?
I think he'd go where Jonathan Preston isn't.
Yeah, but you're exactly right. But I think you still have to have a bit of a game plan. I think I'm going to be ready to head to the outside groove if I'm Jake Brown.
I'm hitching my caboose to your engine, buddy, and that's where we're going too. I say that's the move. Get up to the top side. Everybody else be guarding the bottom. You got to ring it around the top, and here we go.
Down the banking they shoot, and to full speed down the front stretch and into corner number 1. Poirier leads the train, and that's exactly what Jake Brown did. Work to the outside line, but that opens the door for Joe Trenka to slip by.
Joe Trenka gets by into the 7th spot. Remember, the top 6 is where it's got to be. Poirier, Daggett, Colagiovanni, Demand, Cook, and Preston.
So Trenka, Brown, Tanner, Van Enwich, and Peebles, Evans, Porter, Miller, Swiernick, Horseman, Jamie Turner, Ryan Conium, Curtis Gartley, and Josh Hansen done for the night. 6 drivers move on. The rest are done for the evening, and you may think, the B main means nothing. Ask Brian Howland, who won just a few seasons ago on a track similar to what we see here tonight. He came from the B main to win it all. So it's not over for any of these 6 drivers. They didn't just cash in on that $1,000. They've got themselves a chance to win the biggest race of the season. When we return, the Action Sprint Tour will come out with their A main here on All North Racing, powered by Pinty's.
Welcome back to All North Racing, powered by Pinty's. It is time to go feature racing with the Strickland's GMC Crate Sprint Cars. Although this is an Action Sprint Tour event, the finale for the Action Sprint Tour. And here's how they're gonna line up. Starting on the pole out of Font Hill in the 08, it is Stephen Beckett. On his outside in the number 29 from Binbrook, Liam Martin. Starting third from Kitchener, the 50 LS is Adrian Stalley. And starting fourth from Beachville, the number 5 is DJ Christie. Starting fifth from Beamsville, the 1A is Paul Klager. Starting sixth from St. Thomas, the 4 is Jesse Costa. Starting in 7th from Caledonia, the 88 is Jesse McDonald. Starting 8th from Hagersville, the 49H is Jerry Hill. Starting 9th from Rockwood, the 74 is Rob Neely. And starting 10th from Hagersville, the MK8 is Matthew Hill. Starting 11th from Beamsville, the 88H is Josh Hansen. Starting 12th from Salmon Arm, British Columbia, the 26 is John Verney. Starting 13th from Brantford, the 49L is Lucas Smith. Starting 14th from Ohsweken, the 69 is Josh Hill. Starting 15th from Ohsweken, the 28 is Jordan Hill. Starting 16th from Six Nations, the 20 is the Iceman Johnny Miller. Starting 17th out of Waterloo, the 19D is Alan Downey. Starting 18th from Port Colborne, the 5D is Jacob Dykstra. Starting 19th from Stony Creek, the 24A is AJ Lewis. And starting 20th from Gore's Landing, the 19 is Brandon Merle. Starting 21st from Ancaster, the 26X is Terry Baker. Starting 22nd from Caledonia, the R52 is Ryan Hunsinger. Starting 23rd from Niagara Falls, the 70 is Bailey Hurd. And rounding out the field from Welland, the 3B is Blaine Barrow. That is how they're going to line up for the Action Sprint Tour Crate Sprints A main event. Race fans, get up on your feet, Give these drivers a wave, as the great Greg Collins says. They are 4 wide and fancy for you, the fans. Come on, front stretch, give these drivers a wave. They're going to be waving back. 4 wide for the Crate Sprint Division as they get set to embark on the final Action Sprint Tour feature event of the year. Rick Scott, the driver of the Strickland's GMC Pace vehicle. That's got to be a great view when you pull away from that 4 wide, so you're a full straightaway in front of the cars, and they come screaming up in your rear view mirror. As Dale Calnan riding in the back of that truck getting some fantastic photographs.
The last couple of years, he's taken the ride in the back of the Pace truck. And usually for the next week, he's complaining his ribs hurt, his knees hurt, but he wouldn't trade it for anything. He loves riding in the back of the truck there, getting the photos. We're set to go green flag racing for the final time in 2019 for the Action Sprint Tour.
Stephen Beckett on the inside in the 08. Liam Martin on the outside in the 21 as they get set for double green flags from Kyle McKenzie.
Green is out. Oh, almost disaster there. Everyone gets the ships pointed in the right direction. They're 3 wide right now for the 3rd spot.
I'm not sure who DJ Christie made contact with coming to the green, but that got real dicey at the front of the field.
Still racing close there for that 3rd spot. Remember, this is Jesse Cost in the Bar Motorsports car number 4. He's running in position number 3. Meanwhile, at the front, Stephen Beckett, Liam Martin, 1 and 2.
You know, something interesting, right around the middle of the pack, everybody has so much pitch to their top wing trying to get rear bite. AJ Lewis comes by in the 24. That thing is almost flat.
He's running the Jordan Hill style top wing here tonight, running about mid-pack in that 24 car. Out in front, Stephen Beckett has not yet claimed a feature win here at Ohsweken as one goes around. Matt Hill, evasive action. Oh, Johnny Miller made contact with, I believe, is Ryan Hunsinger, and everybody gets out of it.
They both did a good job. I mean, Hunsinger was committed to the outside, and then Johnny Miller committed to the same groove. Little bit of contact, but mostly no harm, no foul. Bummer for Hill in the Nitro 54, number 8. He ran his best qualifying heat I think I've ever seen him run tonight to get into this show.
Yeah, he did for sure, and it ends with a spin over there, but it looks like he should be able to keep going at the tail of the pack here.
We thank you for coming out to this race tonight to Ohsweken Speedway. If you're watching on MAV TV Canada, we thank you as well. The story of the Crate Sprint Car Division this season is it is very, very difficult to win in this division, but is equally difficult to qualify for the feature. It is routine for us to have at least around 36 cars show up to try to qualify for 24 spots. Only one driver started every feature event this year, and that was Lucas Smith, the driver of the 49L. The reason I bring all this up, Greg, look at DJ Christie in the 4th spot and Paul Klager in the 5th spot. They were in the top 5 running order of this feature event. Last Friday night on championship night, neither of those drivers were able to qualify for the A main.
No, every week there's been some big names in this division that don't make the A main. It's just common practice. And one thing I think it does for all of these drivers, it'll humble you pretty quick.
Well, and we've got champions, and there's champions that did not qualify tonight for this event. Darren Dryden in the 43, Adrian Stalley in the 50 machine, who is in this race. Guys like Shane Stickle. People have had great success in other divisions who come in here, and it's a steep learning curve.
Well, Stephen Beckett would like to hold on for another 17 laps, get his first Ohsweken Speedway win in a crate sprint car. He's done it down at Humberstone Speedway with the Action Sprint Tour, but not one yet here. And he's been one that's been solid all year. At Ohsweken in the Strickland Brantford Chevrolet Crate Sprint Car Division. He was in the thick of the points battle for most of the season.
So the field is lining up here on the back straightaway. I believe we're going to bring them back to green flag as they close in nose to tail. You watch the accordion. Everybody crunches up to the back bumper ahead of them.
Green flag in the air, Beckett on the bottom, Liam Martin working the outside line. He's got a good run heading down the backstretch with Jesse Costa and two of them.
So many different styles of driving being shown off right now. Stolly in the 50 and the 49L of Lucas Smith got a great restart there. They're working their way towards the top 5. In fact, Lucas Smith just moved into that 5th spot.
Yeah, you talked about the one driver that made every A main this year. It was that guy, Lucas Smith, into the 5th position. Now works to the inside of DJ Christie off of corner number 4. At the front, Liam Martin gets by Stephen Beckett, and a woes up there, though, and that allows Jesse Costa to catch the top 2.
Costa with a nice piece of momentum up on the outside as Stephen Beckett goes back to the inside of Liam Martin. Martin trying to cross him over. Jesse Costa almost filled the hole.
Fantastic back and forth racing at the front. Liam Martin, Stephen Beckett, and now here comes Jesse Costa. He'll work to the outside of Beckett. He'll grab the 2nd spot in his first ride for Bar Motorsports.
Costa with a big run down the back straightaway, but Stephen Beckett not giving up. He drives it deep down into 3 and 4. He is really getting around 3 and 4 well, struggling a little bit in 1 and 2.
And if you're just joining us, Hannah Farrell usually driving this 4 machine that's riding in the 2nd spot. She focused her efforts tonight in the 360 division, so Jesse Costa got the nod. He's right there in the thick of it for this win with Liam Martin leading over Costa, Beckett, Smith, and Christie.
That battle for the 2nd spot is helping Liam Martin. He is gaining a little bit of ground, building a gap over Jesse Costa in 2nd. But now Costa has cleared Stephen Beckett in the 08, but here comes Lucas Smith.
9 laps are complete, 11 to go for Liam Martin over Jesse Costa, Stephen Beckett. But yeah, here comes Lucas Smith to the outside of Beckett. Noses ahead for 3rd. Beckett fights back in the bottom. Here come the cross flags as the top 4 are all right there.
10 laps down, 10 laps remain in this Crate Sprint Car Action Sprint Tour feature event. Liam Martin out in front, Jesse Costa trying to give chase. If this race stays green, we are about 3 or 4 laps from serious lap traffic for the leaders.
Costa works down to the inside line, trying to find some sort of way to gain ground on Liam Martin up in 1 and 2. He'll take the high side around as Lucas Smith now has 3rd solidly from Stephen Beckett. He's got a couple of car length advantage. Beckett back in 4th, and Paul Klager beginning to reel in the top 4 drivers.
Klager's been around that position the entire race, but he's showing a little bit more speed now as he closes in on Beckett. Here comes Costa to the inside of Liam Martin.
He'll put the Oakwood Transport car number 4 to the top of the pile with Liam Martin trying to work that outside line, keep pace with the new leader, Jesse Costa. He'll lead on lap number 13.
What a great battle, swapping sliders around the racetrack. This time Martin dives it to the inside, keeps it on the inside. Costa works his way around on the high side. Martin driving it deep into 3 and 4.
This has been a great battle at the front, just back and forth constantly. At one point it was Liam Martin and Stephen Beckett. Now it's Costa and Martin. Martin to the inside in the lap traffic. It is a full presence right now for the leaders.
It'll be 5 laps to go this time at the stripe. Lap traffic is a factor. The first one to go a lap down is Ryan Hunsinger in the 52, and Jesse Costa now starting to put some daylight between himself and Liam Martin back in 2nd.
Works now on the back end of Johnny Miller. The leader does. Jesse Costa slips by the Iceman. Has now 2 lap cars between 1st and 2nd. Lucas Smith back there in 3rd, and Paul Klager catching him very quietly has worked his way towards the top 3.
The leaders work their way down the back straightaway. Jesse Costa now with a big advantage, and Johnny Miller between himself and Liam Martin. Martin disposes of Johnny Miller through turns 3. It's 3 laps to go.
Costa heavy lap traffic in front in the form of Jacob Dykstra, Jesse McDonald right there as well. Liam Martin has cleared the lap cars. Lucas Smith will as well. So 1, 2, and 3 all right now in a pocket between the lap traffic.
Jesse Costa running that car so straight as he closes in on Jacob Dykstra, and he could just about look right through Dykstra's car, but Liam Martin is closed in, so Jesse Costa being a little bit cautious. It could hurt him in the closing laps.
Costa down low, and Martin trying to work that outside line. Now he'll dive down low and try and follow in the tire tracks of Costa. Now looks to the outside of Dykstra, can't find room. He'll sling it around the outside. Martin not giving up yet.
Martin with a big run down the back straightaway. Here goes Jesse Costa for the final time in 3 and 4. Martin to the inside. I don't think he's going to do it.
Checkers out. Jesse Costa wins the race. Liam Martin second, and third will go to Lucas Smith. Fourth will be Paul Klager, and fifth at the line, Stephen Beckett. That was a great race. Quality racing, a lot of respect shown by these drivers. A torrid battle, but in the end.
Well, guys, bad break for Lucas Smith. He jumped that last restart. There were no cautions. He will go back to 5th place.
So Paul Klager gets credited with the 3rd place finish. He will drive down to Mr. Transmission victory lane as Lone Wolf fireworks light up the sky.
Fantastic feature event, and that is why this division has grown so popular, not just amongst competitors, but the fans and abroad, with this crate package being expanded down in Quebec. And the Action Sprint Tour draws to a close for 2019 with Jesse Costa in his first start with the Bar Motorsports team. He'll go down to Mr. Transmission victory lane for Liam Martin, who gave it a valiant effort. And Paul Klager, with that penalty to Lucas Smith, will work his way into the 3rd spot.
Well, Jesse Costa gets his way out of the Lucas Oil Oakwood Transport number 4 for the Bar Motorsports team, and will climb up to the top to salute the fans. How about it, ladies and gentlemen? Jesse Costa gets it done.
And interestingly, I don't know if we've ever had this before, Clinton, but the same car won this race 2 weeks in a row, but last week it was Hannah Farrell driving it.
Jesse Costa, what's the story here? How did you get the call to be behind the wheel of the number 4 tonight?
Just kind of been talking for a bit and just got the opportunity from Darren and Steve, and I jumped on it. So I just really appreciate Darren and Steve putting me in this car, man. It was awesome. I can't believe how good it was right through the slick, but just got to thank all their sponsors, Oakwood Transport, Leach Performance for the awesome motor, all my sponsors for helping me out all year, and my dad, Steven, and I just can't thank the bars enough for putting me in the car.
What's your plans hold for next year, Jesse? Too early to tell?
We're just going to probably run Ohsweken weekly again. We're just really enjoying the crate sprints, and it's an awesome facility, so can't go wrong.
You had a great year, Jesse. Good luck tonight, and the rest, we'll bring in Tony from Mr. Transmission to get the trophy there to Jesse Costa. Not the first time this year he's picked one of those up, and we'll get ready with 2nd and 3rd. Back to you guys.
Well, a great drive by Jesse Costa, a spirited battle with young Liam Martin. Paul Klager, we talked about him a lot in that race, so a hard-earned 3rd place finish, even though he crossed the line in 4th. But Clinton Jeffrey is with Liam Martin down in Mr. Transmission victory lane.
Liam, solid run for you. You look like you were on a mission tonight all night. That car pounding the outside and just flying. Talk about your evening, bud.
Yeah, it was a fun run tonight. But Jesse made that one move that got me on the bottom, and I made a mistake. But anyway, great run for Jesse and Paul, and I'm glad to be here.
Solid season, Liam. Congrats.
Thanks, Clint.
Liam Martin picks up 2nd. Paul Klager. Paul, you weren't the 3rd track, but Lucas got caught for jumping that last restart, and Doug come on the radio and said, Clint, it ain't going to be good. We haven't had a yellow yet, and we got to put him back. So tough break for Lucas. He didn't get a chance. He was fast. But, Paul, you were making moves on that 49L at the end. Talk about your night for us.
Yeah, the track is just awesome. It's slippery the way I like it. It seems to suit my driving style. And it was a great race. Good run by all the competitors. The Action Sprint Tour is an awesome, awesome tour out there with everybody. Good drivers, excellent tracks we go to. And we're on TV. So Matt TV, Pinty's, thanks a lot for everything. We can't do this without you. And I got to thank my sponsors, Schneider Electric, my crew guys, my girlfriend Ingrid for really helping me out. So thanks a lot.
Solid drive there. Your top three tonight will be Jesse Costa, Liam Martin, and Paul Klager here in the Strickland GMC Crates as the final round of the Action Sprint Tour. We're down here in Mr. Transmission Victor Lane. We've got a commercial break coming up, and we're getting ready for the A-Main coming up shortly.
All North Racing powered by Pinty's at Ohsweken Speedway for the 15th annual Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car National, supercharged by Nitro 54 variety. Got to see a big fireworks show here, courtesy of Lone Wolf Fireworks, as we get ready for the lineup and start of the A-Main for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. And Adam, we should touch a little bit on some of the drivers that are going to make the A-Main that after the B we didn't think were going to. Now, there are provisionals in place for each of the touring groups that sanction this event. Only one needed to be used, and that was Jared Horseman. So drivers like Joe Trenka, Jake Brown, Matt Tanner, and Billy Van Edwingen are very happy that those provisionals did not have to get used.
All of their hard work in the B main was well worthwhile, Greg Kalnick.
So cars getting lined up and set and ready to go to introduce you to the 30 drivers that will make the start in this 15th annual edition of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. The only time of the year that we take the time to introduce our drivers like this, and it's quite the sight, quite the spectacle here at Ohsweken Speedway. Drivers taking their place at the front of their vehicles and getting ready to go for the 35-lap main event. This race has been won 3 times by the Fireball Steve Poirier. Shane Stewart, the other driver to have won 3 of these events. He's not here tonight, but Parker Price Miller could become a 3-time winner at one of the major storylines here tonight.
Greg Callan, the drivers are in place at their right fronts. I believe it is time to introduce the starting lineup.
Not everybody's there. All right, time to introduce you to the 30 drivers that will make up this A-Main event for the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Starting in the 30th spot, hailing from Cloverdale, Ohio, driving the M&W Construction, Miller Construction, Scott Miller Trucking, car number 17, Jared Horseman. Starting 29th, out of Port Jervis, New York, driving the Profab, number 56, this is Billy Van Inwigen. Starting 28th, the driver to Stephentown, New York, and the Reifenberg Contracting, Westward Painting, car number 90T, Matt Tanner. Starting 27th, out of Brantford, in the Hills Tire and Gas, Brown Auto Service, Little Bend 110, Jake Brown. Going from position number 26 out of Clay, New York in the Mucci Motorsports, FK Rod Ends, Schoenfeld Headers, number 98, Joe Trenka. Starting 25th from Romulus, New York, driving the Williams Insurance, Canandaigua Seal Coating, and our boys Ford, 22P Jonathan Preston. Going from 24th, out of Antwerp, New York, driver the Route 37 Building Supply, Felder's Roofing, L&J Landscaping, car number 10, Jeff Cook. Starting from 24th, out of Mississauga, Ontario, in the Nitro 54 variety, Ripshot, Carstar, Brantford, car number 17X, the highlight man, Matt DeMann. Going from 22nd, out of Cicero, New York, driving the Ground Control Lawn and Snow All-Star Performance 10C, this is Polly Cola Giovanni. making his 15th consecutive A-Main in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, the only driver to compete in every A-Main of this event. From Portland, Michigan, driving the Sweet Manufacturing Next Level Graphics, car number 85, Double D, Dustin Daggett. Rolling off in the 20th spot out of St. Matthew de Beloeil, Quebec, in the Four Seasons Foundation, RG Aluminum, Stellar Ventilation, number 28, Jordan Poirier. Going from 19th out of Port Colborne, Ontario, in the Goleta Floorings, car number 22, Sean Slider. Starting in position number 18, in the Case IH, Aero Express Ohsweken Speedway Gibbons Contracting, car number 0H, the Red Rocket, Jim Hoopinen. Starting in 17th out of Tonawanda, New York, driving the Fiberworks Composites, Brady Electric, 7NY, Matt Farnham. Going from 16th position, from Sussex, New Jersey, in the Dave Franek Auto Sales, Rapid Tire Escape RV 28F, Davey Franek. From the 15th starting position, from Dunnville, Ontario, driving the Kingpin Farms, Burger Barn, Aiken Motors, number 91, Ryan Turner. Starting from 14th out of Ontario, New York, in the Golden Triangle Fire Protection, Mohawk Northeast, car number 10H, Kelly Hebing. Starting 13th out of Ontario, New York, in the Wilkins RV, North Coast Performance 45, this is the Cobra, Chuck Hebing. Going from 12th out of Brantford, Ontario, driving the CarQuest Auto Parts, Brown Auto Service, car number 10B, downtown, Mitch Brown. Starting 11th out of North Granby, Connecticut, in the Lucky's Trailer Sales, Brignall Vineyards, 91H, this is Scott Holcomb. Rolling off from 10th out of Brewerton, New York, in the Pit Stop Convenience, 87 Speed, E&V Energy, X1 Race Cars, 87 Racing, Jason Barney. Going from 9th, in the Petro Plus, Travel Stop, Burger Barn, Mobile One, car number 13, Corey Turner. Starting in 8th, out of Rockwell, Texas, in the original Traders Energy Town Line Variety, car number 15H is Sam Haferteep Jr. Going from 7th, he is the Ohsweken Speedway Track Champion for 2019 out of Scotland, Ontario. Driving the original Traders Energy, Sovereign Fusion, Burford Heating and Air Conditioning, 47X D-Dubs, Dylan Westbrook. Starting 6th out of Kokomo, Indiana, driving the Victory Games, original Traders Energy Chalk Stick, 67X. This is the law firm, Parker Price Miller. Starting 5th from Sunbury, Pennsylvania, in the Foundation's 55, car number 55 is Mark Smith. Rolling off 4th from Cheektowaga, New York, driving the Fiberworks Composite, car number 49, the straight shooter, Scott Kruder. Going from 3rd, a 3-time winner of this event out of St. Matthew de Beloeil, Quebec, in the Four Seasons Foundation, Industries FM, Mega Pumping, car number 28 FM, the Fireball, Steve Poirier. And your front row, starting from 2nd out of Harding, Pennsylvania, in the Mechanical Service Company, Dr. David A. Scalzo, Vincent Tire 79, Jordan Thomas. And going from the pole, in the M&W Construction, Jared Horseman Racing, car number 17M out of Lima, Ohio, Max Stambaugh. These are the 30 drivers that are ready to go and put on a battle for you in the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, brought to you by Aero Express, Nitro 54 Variety, Bradshaw Brothers, and the Burger Barn. When we return, we'll be ready to go with the A-Main in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals on All North Racing, powered by Pinty's. All North Racing powered by Pinty's at Ohsweken Speedway for the 15th annual Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, supercharged by Nitro 54 variety. My name's Greg Kellman. With me is Adam Ross down trackside, Clinton Jeffrey. Adam, these drivers buckled in, ready to get pushed off. A lot of these drivers, you look at them, they're very stone-faced to talk to. There's got to be still, you'd think, a lot of butterflies going on in these cockpits right now.
During those driver introductions, there was a couple of drivers I noticed particularly that looked really loose. Dylan Westbrook, the driver of the 47X, was one of them. Steve Poirier, driver of the 28, was another one. I mean, nobody to me looked particularly uptight, but those two drivers were kind of smiling. It makes a difference, you know, and every driver's got a different pre-race ritual. So, I mean, Sam Haferteep, he looked as focused as could be.
And during the course of this race, these drivers are going to have to make big decisions in a split second, because oftentimes in a race like this, that door of opportunity opens maybe once in the race for you to make that one move that is key and critical. And with the best of the best in this one, those passes come fewer and far apart.
Well, there's one thing we saw in the Crate Sprint Car feature event was the track changed so much over the course of that race, and cars that came on in the middle of the race fell off towards the end. Cars that came on in the end didn't look like they had much to work with from the start of the race. Remember, this is a 35-lap, 360 cubic inch sprint car race. That is a long time. Circumstances are going to change for these drivers, so the one that gets out first and is running the fastest laps is not necessarily the one who's going to see success when the checkered flag flies.
Yeah, nearly a double what we would usually see on a Friday night with a 20-lap main event. 35 laps the distance here tonight, and with the racetrack we have, that's going to be a lot of work for these drivers, pedaling these race cars and working the racing surface that we have here tonight. The track crew's done a phenomenal job.
Okay, Spencer. All right, guys, fans, are you ready to go racing to the 15th annual Canadian Sprint Car Nationals? We need a huge Ohsweken round of applause. Make some noise. And with further ado, we've got awesome pace trucks and push trucks and everything we got. We got Rick up front, but the push trucks are ready to go to work. Push trucks, turn on your lights. Let's go. Pick up a car. Let's make this happen.
Push trucks taking their spots and getting ready to push these cars off for the biggest race of the year.
I've got to think the most nervous driver right now on that racetrack is probably Rick Scott.
Yeah, he's got to lead these machines around to the green flag.
And you know, you don't think it's that challenging a role, but he's got a lot of things to worry about right now as he paces this field, because while they're pushing the cars off, there'll be cars passing by him, he'll be passing by other cars, and he could ruin someone's night. No pressure, Rick.
3 of the previous 9 winners of the event are here in attendance tonight. Steve Poirier tops the charts with 3 wins. He's tied with Shane Stewart. Shane not here tonight. Parker Price Miller, third on that list with 2 wins, of course, in tonight's feature. And Sam Haferteep Jr., he is up there with 1 win as well. Brian Howland, Kenny Jacobs, who won the first event, Wayne Johnson, Carson Macedo, and Jessica Zemkin, the only female winner of this event. The others to have a win. So there's a good shot we might see a first-time winner for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
You make a good point. What a view we got from Clinton Jeffrey and Sean Robertson as we get a big thumbs up from Sam Haferteep Jr. in the 15H. And look at the crowd in the background. That is our pit grandstand. And quite often at different facilities, Greg, the pit grandstands are more of a gesture than anything else. Nobody really uses them. Here at Ohsweken Speedway, they are absolutely jammed.
Yeah, it looks like a main grandstand for some speedways on a regular night, but it is packed over there in the pit area. And a good crowd on hand here on the front stretch as well, as we see another awesome shot. Where else do you get to see a car being pushed off for an A main on television?
And you saw Jordan Poirier wave his left hand outside of his roll cage, indicating, yep, it took a fire. So we're started and good to go. That's his signal. He's about to drive away from the push vehicle. Dustin Daggett, tip of the hat to the driver, the number 85, who has qualified for each and every one of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
That's impressive. It may just seem like a walk through the park to be that relevant for 15 years. Says a lot.
There's a lot of sprint car careers that don't last 15 years. A lot. Everybody has been pushed off with the exception of one. And we're about to solve that problem right now. Jared Horseman. So we've got bookends. Yep. Identical cars starting first and last on the field.
Good catch there. Max Stambaugh driving for the Horseman race team, and Jared Horseman.
And remember what I said about the pace truck of Rick Scott. So he's up there. The reason people want to be right in front of the pace truck is when it comes time to catch the field and get into formation, they can jump on the throttle and get out there. They can jump on the throttle and sort of clear the engine out. You don't want to be right behind the pace truck because you can't pass the pace truck, so you don't have very far to go. Looks like we had a little piece of something on the front straightaway get picked up there.
Well, guys, this is the strangest Case IH track report I've had to do this year. Something is seeping out of the wall, and it's not a problem we've ever seen before. It's laying a puddle here right across the front straightaway, and it's very unique. We've never seen this issue before in all my 24 years here. Not sure where this moisture is seeping out of. It's been a bit of a problem all night, but it really started to come up here as we got lined up. The benefit of it, it's in the straightaway, so the cars are mostly going straight. They mostly got their traction. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. We'll get it packed in here in a moment. Through the four wides, we should be good to go. But strange situation right here under Kyle McKenzie's flag stand, guys.
So in an asphalt track, we would call them weepers.
Yeah, it's same thing. That's kind of the same situation we got here.
Yeah, Wine Group Raceway out in Saskatoon. That happened there. Even after the rain stopped, the water seeps up through the racetrack and provides challenges for the drivers.
Well, that explains something for me, because last night when they were prepping the track, I saw one of the tractors come out, back up to the flag stand essentially, and kind of disc up just that stretch at the start-finish line. And I wondered what they were doing, and obviously that was part of the problem that they've been having here this week, was some of the moisture coming out at the front stretch. But like Clinton said, if you're going to have a spot, it's probably the best spot to do it, because the cars will be going forward and not trying to turn through the corner.
This is the funniest visual to me. Normally the field of cars is right behind the pace vehicle. In this case, they're stacked up in front of it. But they are spread out all around this racetrack. 30 cars qualified for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. The command has been given for them to close in on that Ohsweken Speedway Strickland's GMC pace truck, because we are going to take formation for one of the most impressive salutes you will see all season long.
Yeah, field taking shape, everyone finding their line in the pecking order.
How many number 10s qualified for this feature?
3 at least. Going to add the 110.
Yeah, I would
sorry,
add the,
4.
Yeah, I would add the 110. 110 makes 5.
5, yep. With Paulie Colagiovanni, Jeff Cook.
1/6 of our field is number 10. So the field is now in order. Max Stambaugh out in front, Jordan Thomas in the 79, Steve Poirier in the 28, Scott Kruder in the 49. A few little adjustments need to be made further back in the field to get people in the right order.
Strickland GMC pace truck cruising them around, getting ready to take shape to salute the fans here in the 15th annual edition of the Air Express Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, supercharged by Nitro 54 variety. Also want to thank the Burger Barn and Bradshaw Brothers Fuels for presenting this big show. Kyle McKenzie shows them the signal to take shape for the salute to the fans. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen it before, our exchange rate here in Canada is so bad that we have to go 5 wide and fancy for you, the fans. This is the 15th annual Aero Express Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, supercharged by Nitro 54 variety.
Look at the cell phone lights in the stand, Greg Calden. They're going to do it on the backstretch as well. They will keep it in formation for you, race fans.
What a fantastic sight. 5 wide, 6 rows deep, 30 of the absolute best, racing for $10,000. And a whole lot of prestige in this event. Some big names have walked away with this paycheck. Shane Stewart, Carson Macedo, Kenny Jacobs, Jessica Zemkin has won this. And there's a whole lot of drivers here tonight that would like to add their name to that list. It won't be an easy feat. 35 laps, a bit of patience, a bit of bravery, maybe a little luck, but a whole lot of horsepower. White flag goes out on the Speedway. Next time by, we're going green flag racing in the 15th annual edition of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
Max Stambaugh on that orange number 17 from the pole position. Alongside him, it's Jordan Thomas in the 79. If you look deep in the field, who won our B main race, Greg? Do you remember way back then?
Max Stambaugh. Jordan Thomas on the front row. Ladies and gentlemen, you came looking for a show. Well, here you go. Let's end all the anticipation as we bring to you our feature presentation.
Down through 1 and 2, Parker Price Miller on the outside with an impressive run, but the top two still side by side through 3 and 4. Jordan Thomas going to lead lap 1.
Parker Price Miller, though, right on his tail tank. He'll look low down in corner number 1. Thomas, your leader. Parker Price Miller in the second spot. And then it's Max Stambaugh, Poirier, and Haferteep on the first lap.
And the point I was making before I almost interrupted your pre-race festivity is the winner last year came from the very back of the field. It could be anybody out there right now taking this one home tonight, but so far it's all Jordan Thomas with Parker Price Miller giving chase.
3 laps down on the board with Jordan Thomas out in front. Parker Price Miller running the outside line. Max Stambaugh down about a line up from the block wall right now in the third spot. Poirier tracking him down quick.
Poirier running the middle of the racetrack as Jordan Thomas got a little bit squirrely out of turn number 4, lost some speed. Parker Price Miller all over the back end of that number 79, and we are very soon going to be into lap traffic out here. Billy Van Imingen right now running in the last position in that white number 56. The leaders are within half a straightaway.
Thomas, Parker Price Miller back there in the second spot. The top 4 all right there. Sam Haferteep, who's kind of had a bit of a rough weekend so far. He's up there in 5th.
Yeah, it has not been a Sam Haverty type weekend here at the Big O, that's for sure, as Jordan Thomas starting to open a gap over Parker Price Miller, who is being closed in on by Max Stambaugh.
But here's that lap traffic you talked about, Adam. Double D, Dustin Daggett, Billy Van Edwidge in the first couple of cars right in front of leader Jordan Thomas. Thomas right out to the wall on the front stretch will stick it down to the middle lane, trying to find a lane that'll work, and Parker Price Miller sees the opportunity. He's working the inside line on the leader.
Parker Price Miller had been working the outside of the racetrack. Now he's gone down to the bottom and back to the outside as Jordan Thomas going to try to work through this traffic. Closing the door is Billy Van Imogen down into one.
Now here comes Parker Price Miller down to the inside of the lap car of Jared Horseman. Jordan Thomas back to second. Steve Poirier, the fireball, now has worked his way into the third spot. Max Stambaugh slid back to fourth.
Parker Price Miller doing a better job right now in lap traffic. That earned him the lead over Jordan Thomas and really closed in the top five.
Lap cars playing havoc right now on Parker Price Miller, trying to stay ahead of second place. Jordan Thomas, as he's cleared him right now, Dustin Daggett in between the first and second place cars.
Down the back straightaway, Price Miller to the outside of Matt Tanner into 3 and 4. Jordan Thomas running the bottom of the racetrack right now. Will come out of turn 4, swing to the outside. 11 laps already complete here in the Sprint Car Nationals.
With Parker Price Miller out in front over Jordan Thomas. Steve Poirier, Scott Kruder now is up there as well, as he's sliced his way into a top 4 position through this heavy traffic.
Parker Price Miller closing in on Jonathan Preston, and then it's Mac DeMann in the 17X, one of the hot shoes here at Ohsweken Speedway.
Parker Price Miller down to the inside, looking to become a 3-time winner himself, to join Steve Poirier and Shane Stewart in those ranks. He'll slip by Jeff Cook now, and he's got a couple of lap cars between he and Jordan Thomas. Thomas also has a lap car between he and the third place runner Steve Poirier, but Scott Kruder has run him down.
Scott Kruder giving a great drive to that black and red number 49, challenging Steve Poirier in the 28 down into 3 and 4.
Close quarters racing. Adam, we've talked about it all weekend long. Could there be a home track regular find his way to victory lane? Right now, the most likely suspect could be Scott Kruder. He's worked to third. He's tracking down Jordan Thomas, and he can see Parker Price Miller. He's still within striking distance, less than a straightaway away.
I like the attitude of that race car as well as it comes through the corners. He's really got it pointed in the right direction on corner exit. Next time by, well, 2 laps from now, it'll be halfway through the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. We've got 17 laps complete.
Matt Tanner off the track in the 90T. He'll pull it into the pit areas. We stay green with 17 on the board this time by. The cross flags come out for the law firm Parker Price Miller as he leads it off of corner number 4. Thick in traffic right now, trying to work by Ryan Turner and Joe Trenka.
And the top 3 have now closed back in. Jordan Thomas closing on Parker Price Miller. A problem for one. That's Davey Franick, I believe, headed towards the pits.
So across the stripe this time by, it'll be 19 laps now on the board for Parker Price Miller. He's got the lead, but Jordan Thomas, Scott Kruder are right there, second and third. They can see the leader. Steve Poirier's drifted back just a little bit in fourth. Fifth right now in the running order is going to be the 17, I believe, of Max Stambaugh, or is it the 7NY? I believe it might be a Matt Farnham.
I believe it's Matt Farnham, and we got a new second place driver. Scott Kruder has taken over the second spot, and he is closing on Parker Price Miller.
21 laps on the board, green flag racing so far in this one with Parker Price Miller in the lead. But here comes the straight shooter in the Haddock Racing, number 49, Scott Kruder is reeling the 67 in, and I'll tell you what, in the 3 races we've seen this year, not many drivers have been able to do this.
You are absolutely right, and I'll tell you what, Scott Kruder suffered a heartbreaking loss earlier this year when a lap car got in his way while he was leading. He has rebounded nicely, had some phenomenal runs, and wouldn't it be something to see Scott Kruder take the win? He is all over the back end of Parker Price Miller.
And he is right there right now. That car in the Northern Summer Nationals was piloted by Christopher Bell. He drove the victory game 67, had a flat tire while leading on night number 1. He won night 2, and last night Parker Price Miller picked up one of the triple 15s. He's trying to get another one here tonight, his 3rd career Nationals win, but Scott Kruder trying to change that. Here he comes with a charge in corner 3.
Scott Kruder working the high groove in 3 and 4. He's got a run off the corner on Parker Price Miller. He'll head in on the outside of 1.
10 laps left to go. Jason Barney right in front of the leaders. Parker Price Miller works the bottom line as Matt Farnham has joined the mix. Look at him up there.
Matt Farnham in the 7NY. We got a pair of teammates in the top 3. What a story here at Ohsweken.
Running modifieds full time, dabbled in the crates for a little bit, won in almost every start, and in his rookie season in the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, he's making his name a factor.
Here goes Scott Kruder making his move. Sets him up in 3 and 4, drives by on the inside.
Scott Kruder, your new leader on lap number 27. We've been green flag all along. Parker Price Miller sent back to the 2nd spot. You don't see that happen very often.
You also don't see Mark Smith go a lap down in the 55 very often. He is always a contender here in this race. Scott Kruder out in front, and he is putting daylight between himself and Parker Price Miller.
Kruder trying to make history. A regular Friday night runner has yet to win this marquee event. Can he do it? A regular here on Ohsweken Speedway's Friday night excitement. Boy, it would be exciting to see him down to Mr. Transmission victory lane.
Matt Farnham applying the pressure on the 67 of Parker Price Miller. He'll drive to the inside in 3 and 4. Price Miller's got to be thinking, what the hell? How many black and orange cars are there?
Right now, it is Kruder caught in behind Jake Brown and Scott Holcomb. He'll try and work by Farnham into the 2nd spot. That Hoddick Racing team is hooked up as they work it off of corner number 4. 31 laps on the board, 4 to go.
Once or twice this season, Greg, we had Scott Kruder on the podium, and in his interviews after the race, he says, I've got to get better at working lap traffic. I've got to get better at making those choices. Right now, he is making phenomenal choices behind the wheel of that number 49.
3 more circuits around for the straight shooter. Can he point his way into Mr. Transmission victory lane? Matt Farnham trying to reel his teammate in. Parker Price Miller holding on to 3rd. Jordan Thomas running 4th, and the Fireball back in 5th. That's Steve Poirier.
We say this time and time again, folks, but keep in mind, there are no rear view mirrors. There are no spotters in this car. Scott Kruder has no idea how big of a lead he does or does not have.
We've gone green to checkered so far, and the white flag is coming out. Pardon me, we've gone green flag racing so far. We're hoping to get green to checkered this time around. The race isn't over. Here comes Farnham.
Matt Farnham is closing in on his teammate one more time through 3 and 4.
Here comes Kruder. Splits the lap traffic off of corner 4. A home track regular brings it home and wins the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
Matt Farnham comes home 2nd. Parker Price Miller in 3rd. Jordan Thomas in 4th. Steve Poirier in 5th. Holy moly, race fans, in 15 years, it had never happened. Scott Kruder had heartbreak this season, a wicked crash on the back straightaway while he was leading a feature event. He had wind stripped away from him, but he was not to be denied tonight. His teammate Matt Farnham pulls alongside him for congratulations. Now Parker Price Miller, the winner of the race, Scott Kruder, has to go directly to the scales. 2nd and 3rd, Matt Farnham and Parker Price Miller will come down to victory lane, but the winner has to successfully get across the scales before he can be declared the winner.
How about that for the Hoddick Racing Team 1 and 2? Todd Hoddick probably wishing he'd brought a car here this weekend as well. What a race, green to checkered.
You know, when Scott Kruder had his problems on the racetrack, he took it on the chin. You could see that he was upset, but even in his interviews, he was always humble, he was always gracious. He understood it's part of racing. How nice is it to see a driver like that with that kind of class take it to victory lane. We have a look at the replay of the move that got him the lead, folks. Kruder to the inside of Parker Price Miller. And I believe next, Spencer is going to show us the tech barn. The 49 of Kruder is on the scales. Glenn Hill's our tech man looking at the scale. Thumbs up. It's just that easy for now. Scott Kruder has made it through the first stage of that technical inspection, Greg. Now we get to celebrate.
You are so right, Adam. Scott Kruder had every opportunity this year to moan and complain about the things that happened to him that weren't of his doing this year. He didn't. He took the high road, and oftentimes positivity will lead you to things like this.
You know what? When you're a great racer like Scott Kruder is, you realize there are ups and downs. There's ebbs and flows. As we look at the choice he made on the last lap, going into 3 and 4 to split those lap cars, and really that was a defensive move. It meant nobody else was able to make that big dive into that position as we wait for Scott Kruder to be pushed back out onto the racetrack and make his way towards Mr. Transmission victory lane, where Clinton Jeffrey is waiting, along with a great big check for $10,000.
And if you told me even 2 months ago Matt Farnham would be the runner-up in this event, I would have thought you're crazy. He's running crate sprint cars, and he comes out here in the last month. See him celebrating down there, that second place run. Such a talented driver. And in his first nationals, comes home with a runner-up spot.
And we see Scott's wife, Allison Kruder, down there in victory lane, all smiles as well. It's been a tough season for her, watching what her husband went through. So great that they can all celebrate together down in victory lane. Race fans, here he comes now. Let him hear it. Scott Kruder, the winner of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
Parks it down here at the start-finish line.
I apologize in advance, Clinton Jeffrey. We talked about it this week on our Race Rivals show. How about if the driver stopped by the fence to celebrate with the fans? And that's what he's doing, folks. Scott Kruder.
What a sight.
That's awesome. I know this is going to get me in trouble with Clinton Jeffrey, but that's what we said, because victory lane is so crowded, it gets things away from the race fans. Scott Kruder giving those fans a chance to celebrate with him.
That's real raw emotion right there. Fantastic by Scott Kruder. Parker Price Miller takes his spot on the podium as well. Down to Mr. Transmission victory lane. A fantastic night of racing here in the 15th annual edition of the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
And it's wonderful that we could show it live on MAV TV Canada, but Scott Kruder realizing all of you fans that bought a ticket to come out here and experience this live, to feel it, to smell it, to hear it, you're the reason these drivers are able to do it. You're the reason, Greg, you and I can stand here and talk about it. Thank you so much for coming out. We appreciate you being here, and obviously, so does Scott Kruder. Clinton Jeffrey, take it away from Mr. Transmission victory lane, where it is a sea of people.
A bit of a chaotic scene down here, as you can imagine. The Hoddick Racing team with a 1-2 finish tonight will work their way here, and here comes the 49 of Scott Kruder into Mr. Transmission victory lane. We'll get him out here, and he will work his way up to the top wing, I'm sure. We're going to get over here and get a big hug and a high five from the crew.
He already did his big wig dance. His wife, Allison Kruder, giving the hug as well. That is a happy crew down there, an emotional crew in victory lane.
Trey Hoddick in tears down here, the car owner. Certainly something emotional. We'll get a word with Scotty. His teammate Matt Farnham comes in and tells him, "We did it, buddy. 1-2, an amazing run." Scott, what a run, man. You've had some rough runs here. Take on your Mr. Transmission victory lane, but first off, what does it mean, man?
No, this is awesome. The 2 races that I've won here, one last year and then one this year, they've all been, weather's been forcing us, so I haven't been able to come out here and celebrate in victory lane with all these awesome fans. This is awesome. I don't know if he wants me to say anything, but so I won't say any names. We'll say it later, but I had some help from somebody who's won this before, and I can't thank him enough, man. This is awesome.
Talk about your run tonight. Adam talked about, you told us many times this year you had to be better in traffic, and tonight you were absolutely flawless.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was to do with the car. I was really comfortable. I didn't even really break a sweat. It was just the car was rolling really nice at the start of the race. I knew in the dash after a couple laps the car got going, so I lost a few spots at the beginning. I kind of just took some deep breaths and just let the car come to me, and we got the same thing in Matt's car, which is awesome. I see he finished second, so this is awesome. We're bringing 1-2 back home to Buffalo.
He was coming. Did you know how close he was?
I don't know how close he was. I got jammed up there. Hey, I don't care. As long as one of these Hoddock racing machines are in victory lane, that's all we. The entire crew, Carl, Trey, Matt, Nick, Jim, Peter, Sherry, Bob, Brenton, Don, Cal, Allison. I got to thank, hey, Buck. Man, I'm not great with interviews. I really wish that my son Dawson was up for this. I'd love to do another wing dance with him, but we'll just have to do it again so he can come celebrate with us. This is awesome. I can't thank Glenn enough for putting this event on. Everybody that sponsors this event, this is awesome. Thank you.
One other big thing, Scott. You're the first Friday night regular in 15 years to win it. How's about it, Ohsweken? One of your guys did it tonight. Scott.
And also, I do watch the Wednesday night shows, and I had to park on the front stretch and celebrate with the fans. Even though Adam will be in trouble, it's awesome.
No, Scott, we've been through some turmoil this year. Great to see you ended on a high note. You've been a class act this year. Thank you. We're so proud to have you with us here at Ohsweken Speedway. Here's your big check for $10,000 US from Tony at Mr. Transmission. We'll turn it up to you guys for a minute. We'll get ready with second and third.
Adam, first time a 35-lap feature event here has gone green to checkered for the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals.
And it was such good racing. 30 cars on the racetrack. You saw over the course of the race a few drivers realize, hey, it's not my night, pulled off into the pits, but I would be curious to know how many crossed the line. There had to still be 24, 25 cars on the track. There was traffic everywhere, action everywhere. And how about Matt Farnham coming home in second? Clinton Jeffrey is standing with him right now.
Matt, you're not even supposed to be here. You didn't even start your sprint car career really till this year in the 360s. What an amazing run for you and your teammate. What does it mean here to be 1-2 with Scott for Hoddock Racing?
It's amazing. I mean, everybody does so much work on these cars, make it possible. And me and Scott have worked really good together, and he's helped me get to this point. I mean, we're 6 or 7 races in with 360, and come here to the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals and drive from 17th to 2nd is pretty awesome, especially to have your teammate win it and go 1-2. I mean, doesn't add up to a much better weekend than that.
Congrats, Matt. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
Moving over here to third, Parker Price Miller. Obviously not the finish you wanted. Parker, you came in with high hopes tonight, trying to pick up your third win here in the Nationals, but still a solid run for you.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Scott and Matt. They were really good. They were better than me. They deserve it, and it's cool to see Ohsweken get a local win it. I know it's been a long time since that's happened, so hopefully you fans enjoyed that. I just was out there cruising. We were really good at the beginning, and I kind of got loose there. We didn't get aggressive enough with the car, and you'll have that. But it was not lack of effort. I cannot thank Miles, Alex, Pam, Daryl, Kent, Trevor, everyone on this team enough. They worked their butts off all weekend, and I'm just disappointed I couldn't get a win for them. But you can't win them all. We'll be back here next year, and hopefully we're standing on the first place podium.
We appreciate you coming to visit us, Parker. Parker Price Miller is third, Matt Farnham second, and your $10,000 winner, your hometown Ohswekenite, gets it done here. One of our regulars for the first time in 15 years wins it. Scott Kruder wins the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals. Guys, fantastic year, fantastic work by all our staff and crew. Thank you so much for being with us, fans. Hopefully you enjoyed this season.
Adam, I've always been impressed by Parker Price Miller, but tonight just seeing his reaction to not winning. This is a young man who's got the world by the tail. He's won some big races, and yet when Scott Kruder was driving into victory lane, he ran out onto the track to congratulate him. Very humble, and that's not always easy to get past and lose such a big race and still come up all smiles. Great job, though, tonight and all weekend by Parker Price Miller.
Man, oh man, the drivers here, everything about this show, and you're right, Parker Price Miller, all class, same with Scott Kruder, Matt Farnham. It was just something to behold, Greg. Great sportsmanship, great action. This was the way we would want a night to go. And am I crazy, or did we not have a sprint car upside down tonight?
No. Did not have it. It was a fantastic night. A lot of credit to the track prep. Again, Jordan Hill and the crew. The work that they did gave us a super track. And when the track is this smooth, it's hard to wreck race cars. It makes for such great racing and great lanes to move into. And now we get to celebrate with Lone Wolf fireworks lighting up the sky here at Ohsweken Speedway. It's been a phenomenal season here on MAV TV Canada, and just some great races all summer long. And it's sad to see it coming to an end so quickly.
It really is. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks so much, folks, for coming along for the ride. To everyone here in attendance, we're so glad you were here. And to everyone watching at home on MAV TV Canada, we hope you enjoyed All North Racing powered by Pinty's as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you.
On behalf of the Stiers family, all the staff and officials here at Ohsweken Speedway, and on behalf of my co-announcers tonight, Clinton Jeffrey, Adam Ross, my name's Greg Kelman saying so long and thanks for watching on All North Racing, powered by Pinty's on MAV TV Canada.